Welcome to Laval in France for the European qualifier for the Boulder and Lead competition. One man and one woman will walk away from this comp with an Olympic ticket, and this is the semi-final round. My name is Matt Groom. I'm joined by Shauna Coxey in the commentary box. Shauna, just for people who don't know who you are, give us a brief lowdown.
You say that, I don't know what to say. So yeah, I am a professional climber that used to be a competition climber and now focusing on rock climbing and my baby girl. I retired from competitions after competing on the stage for just over a decade, competed at the Tokyo Olympic Games. So I know how it feels to be in the position that these athletes are in, fighting for an Olympic ticket.
Absolutely, and a fight is what they have got on their hands. Earlier on this morning, we had the women's boulder side of the semi-final. Now we're on to the men's, and you can see actually in the background, for one of the first times, the lead routes kind of hidden a little bit by lights, but I know the athletes have been sneaking a look at those, and that's coming this evening.
It sure is. There's a lot of points still to gain on lead, but all focus now on the men's boulder round, which looks really cool, I have to say. The wall is looking very, very exciting.
I completely agree. It's going to be fantastic. And these are our 20 athletes who have made it through from the semi-final round. Marcello Bombardi will climb first, having qualified in last. As we go down the list, big names there. Mikel Mauam, of course, the boulder world champion from recently, so he's one to watch for this round. And then down towards the bottom, a certain Adam Ondra qualifying in first position and looking, we were saying before the broadcast, pretty good at the moment.
He was. He had an unfortunate foot pop on the lead route. He was looking calm, collected, controlled. He wasn't looking tired, I have to say, on the lead route, and still with a really great score in bouldering too. So, yeah, we said it in the women's, and I'll say it again. It's an impossible one to call.
Yeah, there are so many athletes who could take this final place. Of course, medals are awarded for first, second and third, but it's only the top spot that gets that ticket, so it is an intense round of competition here. Now, Shauna, you had the privilege of climbing the women's boulders last night. You talked about that a lot on the stream.
I would say climbing on, maybe not climbing.
That's a good point. Have you had a go at these, or were they not available?
I haven't tried these, and I unfortunately didn't get to see the setters testing them either. I tried to sneak in here, but we were very strict on security this afternoon. I've been up and looked at them, and they look really fun, I have to say. I think it's going to be definitely a good show, and I'm not sure which one the hardest one's going to be. It's really difficult to call. We saw the qualification round was very hard for the men, with very few tops on some of the boulders. No tops on the final boulder, so on the slab, so I expect that might be tweaked to maybe make it slightly easier. It's definitely a lot of work going in from the route setters to ensure that the athletes are able to show their best selves on the wall, and I talk about that a lot, but the route setters, they don't just want to create a show for the spectators. They want the athletes to really have a good time out there, to express themselves. You know, they train so hard for this. This is the last event of the season, and it is the next chance to get that Olympic ticket. Of course, semi-finals is today. You have to make it through to the next round. Finals tomorrow. But yeah, you've got to be in it if you want to take that ticket.
Absolutely, and we have got more chances for the athletes coming in the next couple of months. We move on to the Asian qualifier in Jakarta in about a week's time. Then Africa, Oceania to come. Of course, we had the Pan Ams last week. And then next year, there's the OQS Series. Another chance for the athletes to get a ticket. So it's not all over if you don't win one here, but certainly it will help you in terms of preparation for those games next summer. Now, Shauna, I think we're a couple of minutes away here. The lights have gone on. The archway, I've just noticed, is lit up, which I think might be a hint that someone's about to come out. And here he is, Marcello Bombardi from Italy will kick things off for the men, running all the way down towards the end of the wall where it's 20 degrees overhanging, according to the graphic. And our first boulder. A low start, a fling over to the left towards the first zone, and then you continue upwards. And there's two scoring opportunities, as you can see there. The first zone with the 5 points, the second 10, and the top is 25. And the athletes get minus 0.1 from their score for every failed attempt. That's the scoring. It sounds complicated, but we will keep you updated as we go. And Marcello has to do a reach into what is a very good hold on that zone hold, but the position is awkward to get into it.
Awkward position, but yeah, like you said, a really good hold, and we don't often see holds that positive on the men's route, suggesting that that move is quite awkward. The route setters will want the athletes to work hard to gain points here, so maybe not just kind of giving it away. We saw in the women's you had to fight quite hard to get even to the 5 on some of the boulders, so maybe just making it slightly awkward as opposed to really difficult.
Yeah, Marcello got it second time of asking, much more comfortable. Makes the match, hits the 10, he's got to hold it though. And now he will get the points as he's using that hold, he's moving around. This is good work from Marcello, one hold away.
A good start from him. He is a lead specialist. He's previously won a gold medal in a lead World Cup, whereas in Boulder, his best position is much lower, around 23rd, I believe, in Munich in 2018, so a while back now. We did see him fall quite early on the lead route, unexpectedly getting 39 points in qualification yesterday. However, he scored 44.3 in the Boulder, so a better Boulder round for him. But I think his focus will be on lead particularly, but of course wanting to gain as many points as possible. So great to see him up high so soon into this round.
Yeah, it was a good start from Marcello. He'll have settled those nerves down a little bit. You can see the boulders stretching away on the right of him. They will be in action about halfway through this competition. 4 athletes will be climbing at the same time before we calm things down and focus on our last athlete out, who is Adam Ondra. There are some big names in that top 5, including Toby Roets from Great Britain, the Olympic champion, defending Alberto Hines Lopez. So lots of action for you. But right now we stick with Marcello, who's got 2.5 minutes to figure this sequence out.
Yeah, spending some time resting. He's got all the way to that 25. Got one hand on. He needs to obviously get both in control to be awarded those points. He knows what to do now, so he looks like he's going to just kind of compose himself, have a little bit of time to recover, and then I think we'll see him have another attempt.
And there is our audience, we can see, who, as you'd expect, being in northern France as we are, they're right behind the French athletes, but cheering everyone on out there.
It's been a great crowd so far, and it's a lot bigger already. It was an early start this morning, so I think it feels like everything is just ramping up, and I expect we'll be a full house for lead later on.
Yeah, absolutely. We started at 9 AM Central European time. This is our next broadcast, which kicked off at 2 PM, and then 7 PM tonight we have the lead rounds of the semi-final. So by the end of this evening, we'll know which of our athletes, the top 8, will have made it through to the final. Marcello looking comfortable down low now as he latches the zone hold and then starts to generate a bit of momentum. And Shauna, he went all the way up with the left hand to the 25 and then tried to slap into the right, which seems to be the method as he goes again.
Yeah, so a lot slower than you saw. He went up to the 25 and then started coming up. I think for a successful attempt at this move, we'll see athletes going a lot faster. So instead of 1, 2, it'll be 1, 2. Okay. Much quicker into that compression between those 2 black holes at the top, and then they'll bring their right hand into match when they've settled their feet into a good position. Again, another good effort from him. He does have a whole minute left, but that time does tick away. It feels like minutes go so fast when you want to have another go and you're a bit tired.
Yeah, it relentlessly ticks down, as you can see. Just 50 seconds from Marcello. Needs to find a bit more pop at the top. Doesn't quite seem comfortable launching into that final hold yet. And he's got this dialed. That right foot is on a little jib, you can see there as his foot popped away from it.
Team Italy are really showing up at this event with 3 women in the semi-finals and 2 men. It's really cool to see their team kind of having a great performance here. Yeah,
they're one of the powerhouses, aren't they? Certainly this year, there's a few who have come up to that mark. Team France, real depth in their squad. The Slovenians, of course. And do remember, if you're watching this, that some of the athletes will be missing if you're used to World Cups. Obviously, anyone not from Europe isn't here. And then the ones who have already qualified for the Olympics, they tend to miss it. So people like Janja and Jakob, they are taking a well-deserved holiday right now.
You say that, Jakob was climbing the Red Bull Dam recently. Definitely not a holiday.
No, and
then up there.
He went straight onto a 9A boulder afterwards as well, so he's not having a break.
He's definitely... That's not what I would call a break.
No, me neither. His way to relax. All right, Darius Rapa comes out from Romania, and he was one of the surprises to get into this semi-final. What a performance from this young man to get this far. Really impressive stuff from him.
Yeah, only 17 years old. He had a great round in the qualification. He's our youngest competitor in semis, so what really cool experience for him.
Yeah, heck of a time to peak in terms of performance. Did what Marcello did, awkward starting position. I went and actually tried to start earlier on before they chalked it up. Don't worry, I didn't sweat the holds out. But it's just really awkward. That left foot is terrible to stand on, and you're all scrunched up underneath yourself.
Yeah, I do think the setters like to make positions quite awkward and peculiar, so just to unsettle the climbers a little bit, not to be mean, but just to test them and give them a good show.
Trying to go feet first, that's interesting. He dropped it back down.
You can see a good look there at that black hold. It almost looks like a jug from this angle. When you get a closer look, it's really terrible. So you can see he's going feet first to try and get a bit of opposition onto that black hold that he's holding. Whereas we saw Marcello go with a lot more like pow into that 10.
Yeah, look for a second like he was trying to get almost a knee bar in on the black hold. I think he might reassess things after that go.
It would be cool to see him go feet first if he can make it work. I do think it's worth him having an attempt at what the intended beater is, which is that fast 1-2 with the hands. But yeah, if it didn't work, why not try feet first again?
You love a beater break.
I love a beater break.
Anytime I'm in a competition and you're not here now, I'm imagining your voice whenever a climber breaks the beater.
I think that was because I was so good at beater breaking when I was competing myself. Yeah, in this comp, attempts matter a little bit less. They definitely matter more in the single disciplines. But for sure, it can make a big difference. He knows that was the way now. You could see that little fist bump in the air, and he's definitely going to try that again. And
the crowd helped him as well. You hear a little cheer as he made that jump. They were sort of giving him a hint, I think.
And they want to see it. They want to see him succeed, you know, especially like such a young athlete kind of being on that stage. It's really cool. And also this moment it's quite a lot for any athlete to be on the stage alone, because the round's not begun so much yet. We're only on our second athlete. That'll change as he progresses through the round. There will be other athletes on the wall. But yeah, it's quite a surreal moment, I think, to be on such a big stage on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of pressure for him, but he gets the second zone this time. So with 2 minutes to go, he's doing very well here, is Darius. Right, we watched Marcello not quite have the pop for this move. Let's see if Darius can do it a bit better. Low feet.
You can see he's looking around, he's shifting his body. He's not decided how he wants to approach that move. A good effort to try and make that work. It doesn't look like it will, but he looked hesitant to try the 1-2. Maybe he hasn't seen that. I think it probably just feels very hard when you get there. He has only competed in one adult European event, no World Cups, no World Championships. He is coming out of the junior circuit into the senior circuit in force, because this is only his second event. He finished 49th at the European event that he did this year. So yeah, really, really great effort from him. That's in Boulder, and he's competed in 2 adult or senior events in lead, with a 53rd in Copa this year. So yeah, it's definitely a great performance for him. It's really cool to see him out there.
Yeah, he's certainly stepped up here in Laval. If you want to know, Laval is sort of about an hour-and-a-half drive left or west, west of Paris, so northern France. And we're inside in a purpose-built stadium, which is really very new and beautiful to climb in.
Yeah, it's a tricky place to get to, Laval.
It is, yes, it is.
But this stadium is absolutely incredible, and we said in the women's, the organisers of this event have done a great job.
There they have, and Darius again is into the 10 zone, hits this sloper with the right hand, and wanted to go static before, and it looks like he's trying again. And that sloper, the half moon dish, just looks a little too bad as he moves upwards with that heel.
And
what happened there? Was that a backflip?
I'm pretty sure we just saw a backflip.
I looked at you at the wrong moment there. Can't believe I missed a backflip.
Hopefully we'll see some more.
Yes, replays please. We need that. Forget the climbing.
I think he's happy to be out there, yeah. So the final red hold, like you said, it's really not very good. However, he looked like he was getting a bit of purchase and a bit of upward movement. We know there's athletes coming that like to try different methods. Adam Ondra, for one, is definitely one to try things that are quite wild.
This is it. Here we go. Oh, That is worth a 25 in my books. He should deserve the flash on that. Great performance, lovely tuck, brilliant rotation.
He wouldn't have wanted to fail on that though, right?
No,
Imagine, that would be a bad time to mess a backflip.
Oh, not good. Well, we'll move on for that. Andrzej is on from Slovenia, and then Marcello joins him on stage. And men's too, sort of very physical compression style moves here. It almost goes up and erect. I said to the setter, it's a bit font-like in terms of those kind of moves. You're slapping into slopers.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what this looks like climbed, because I think you can see what makes sense when you look at this boulder, but I think we'll see athletes trying a few different things through this first section and middle section too. Andrzej, on the other hand, making quick work here.
Yeah, he's straight towards the top. So first go for him. And he seems to be setting himself up for a pop to the top. Left foot flagging underneath. He goes for the jump. Seems to be caught in two minds. Kind of semi-went powerfully, but slowed himself down.
Yeah, like almost looking like he wants to go static and wants to be in control. And I think it is such a committing move. If you're able to throw really quickly into those two blacks, it'll be a lot easier. But the position you're jumping out of is quite awkward. Marcello hitting the 5 on number 2, though, and starting to make some progress on this boulder, but fighting just to stay on the wall here, it looks like. Yeah,
there's hardly any grip on that zone hold, the 5. And an interesting start, because he initially tried to lay back that starting hold. Apparently it's easier if you go for a forearm pressed up against it, which I think is what he did the second time.
Get a bit of skin on.
Exactly.
Skin in the game.
Yeah, the setter showed me his arm, and it had been sort of skinned up to his elbow, so it's a bit of a brutal one. And there you go, small graphics to let you know the angles on the wall. 20 degrees on the left, 10 in the middle, and then 0 degrees on the right side.
It doesn't feel like 20 on that wall.
You think
feels
steeper?
It feels steeper, and I think that's, obviously there's volumes added, and I don't know, it just feels like it climbs a lot steeper than 20. I'm not arguing with the graphics guys. It just feels different.
You can do, they can't answer back, so it's fine.
Yeah, they can't hear me.
No.
Or maybe they can
no,
hear
they
me,
can
but
hear
I can't
you.
hear
They just
them.
can't answer, exactly. All right, well, he goes again. Up to the back hold, makes the match, hits the 10 easily for Andrzej. Much faster this time, closer.
I think he needs to go even faster. Even faster. Because what's happening right now, and I'm going to talk about them again, is he's leaving his hips behind. So as he reaches up and over to that 25, in order to bring the other hand up, his hips are going to need to be underneath where his hands end up. So what's happening at the minute, as he hits the 25, his hips start moving out from the wall, so he's not getting that compression. He's quick hands.
So a bit more commitment, a bit more speed needed. Marcello goes for this layback, so he's not pressing the forearm, like I said, he's going for that, and it's actually a more powerful way to do this.
Oh, forearm press on the start hold, I get it, okay.
Because his right foot is on no texture down there.
It almost looks like you can get a bit of forearm on the 5 as well, maybe. Really getting that arm in to compress on this next volume. So we see him move up.
Yeah, as much skin as possible, and that hold, the left hand has been blocked, so he can't get a heel or a toe hook in.
We see setters do that, but we also see athletes still make it work. And when I said I was interested to see how this would be climbed, I do think we'll see athletes wiggling their toe or their heel into that crack-like feature with the 2 blues. Initially, I thought there was maybe a jam, but
I did too. It's exactly what I said.
I am glad there isn't.
I was all excited. I said, is it a hand jam? No, just a blocker. Devastated by that.
I'm delighted.
Well, that's a shot from the top of our lead wall, looking down, and you can see the audience on the left. Coaches down at the front, iPads out. And with less than a minute, both athletes pull on and get going. Andrzej easily into that 10 hold, campusing up now. Let's see how much power he's made. He's held back. It's going to be a top. Needs to match it, of course, and he does. There we go, first maximum points on the top, but of course he will get that minus 0.1 for every failed attempt, and Marcello leaves as well.
Oh, the crowd are ramping it up. They are ready for a great show, aren't they? And the DJ ramping it up too.
I know, I had to move my earphones there a little bit. He's obviously hit that afternoon vibe. And you're right, Shauna, the audience has packed in now. A little bit warmer in the stadium, but doesn't feel uncomfortable yet. And that's our score. So as you can see, Andrzej 24.8, so minus 2, 0.2 for the attempts. Marcello Bombardi and Darius after that. And you can go back and watch the women's semi-final round if you missed it earlier on. That's free to watch on the IFSC YouTube channel. And of course, we're on Discovery Plus and Eurosport as well. Nicolas Collin runs on for Belgium. And Darius returns to the mat for his second boulder.
Nicolas, the first of 3 Belgians in this semi-final. Really cool. And Chloe Collier, teammate in the women's, had a great boulder round just earlier. So, again, a strong showing from this team.
Yeah, they're up and coming, aren't they? And straight away, he hits that cross-through move. Gets the black, and I think he's going to go for the big swing. He's read this well so far. Matches, hits it. Oh, what a one-armer to hold that position.
It's quite literally a flex.
Yeah, it really was. And a big shout. If you know anything about Nicolas, you'll know that screaming is his thing.
We are sat at the back of the stadium, and you could hear it from here.
Yeah, wait for his lead route later on. He'll do lots more of that. All right, Darius is trying to get involved with this, and it's really awkward because to hold it in that layback position, so much body tension required.
Yeah, a lot of pushing with the feet. I don't know how many athletes we'll see get their forearm involved. I don't think it's very obvious.
I didn't. I mean, the second I touched it, I immediately went to that layback. I didn't even think about the forearm. And he's holding it right down at the bottom. The setters told me if they have big hands, they might be able to make it work like this, which I thought was quite interesting. So his right foot is on a sliver of friction down there. The rest is no texture. You can see it shining in the light.
It's so frustrating when you're out on the mat and you can't get established on a boulder to get going, because you want to get involved, you want to be trying hard, and he's going to be gaining so much experience right now, but it doesn't deny the fact that it is incredibly frustrating just to not be able to sink your teeth in, to get going.
Yeah, I agree. It's sort of those feelings you just want to get going, get started. And he has to be in control when he pulls on. So he tried to tap it there and pull off. You have to be sort of static on it you have to show control.
Yeah, so you can tap now as long as there's no movement, as long as you're in control. So he could tap and then move, that would be fine, but his body can't be moving around. He can't be falling off or going towards the next hold as he taps. Yeah,
and he was wobbling all over the place, so that won't count. So let's see if he can get a bit stiller on that.
I believe the definition is stable position.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's what's in the rules. There's no time.
Much better from Nicolas, yeah. He's in, makes the match. I think a bit annoyed not to get that quicker, but it doesn't matter. He's got the points on the board. Yeah,
and a different mindset's required for this round, I think, compared to a boulder-only round where those attempts seem to matter much more. Right now it's 0.1 that'll get deducted from that 25 because it was his second attempt that he did it. So, yeah, I think he almost looked more disappointed than he should have been then. Yeah. Oh, look, Darius is trying to get a jam in there between the wall and the crack, but the setters will have had to think about that. But good that he's trying different things and really trying to get creative and make this work for him. I think, he could have his head down, he could be getting frustrated, but he's trying lots of different things. It's very cool to see. Yeah, he is, and the 5 is close, so if he can just get off the ground here, he's going to get some points on the board, but brutal. It's so hard as well to know that it's potentially much easier to wrap your hand around that start hold, so the right hand would wrap around the top, your right forearm pressed against that chalky section, and therefore you would be able to pull on much easier from what the route setters are saying, but no one can tell him that. Maybe no one even knows that other than the route setters and us, It's not necessarily the case that the coaches that are watching know that, and even if they did, they are not allowed to communicate with him. So, yeah, it's a tricky position for him to be in right now. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Shauna, and it's worth remembering, if you're new to this sport, that these athletes haven't seen these boulders before. They're trying to climb it within the time limit for the first time. And it does change things an awful lot when you're trying to work out the beater as well as just climb the thing. And we're looking at the judges here because he's very, very quick on that starting hold.
but he hasn't been called on it yet.
As long as his hips aren't moving when he taps, he should be good.
Yeah, so...
But definitely giving it a good try and going right to the bitter end. You know, the clock's ticking down. He just wants to get up there.
Well, he's going to have to call it a day now. The time ticks down. So good first boulder. Second one needs a bit of work, but he's still got 2 to go.
It's tricky as well because he doesn't know if that's going to be the hardest boulder of the round. He has no idea how the other athletes are going to and have previously fared on it. We saw Marcello really struggle as well. So he kind of looked like he was walking off in a lot of frustration there, but it's so hard to know how that actually fares within this round.
Yeah, that's very true. Early on here, Jack McDougall from Team GB. He's in action. His teammate Erin was competing earlier on for the women's round. And Jack is, again, I mean, look, 18. And, you know, it's nice to see people coming through the British ranks and sort of, well, filling the spot you left behind as well, Shauna, when you went. But there are some big names in Team GB. And especially, you know, we look at Toby coming later on. A real chance to qualify.
Yeah, a real chance to qualify potentially at this event and in the future for sure, if not here. But also Jack, you know, he's really holding his own out there. He finished 16th in the Boulder World Champs in Bern. So earlier this year, he's just going from strength to strength. And when he finds his flow on the wall, it's really incredible to watch Jack climbing. And I think he's got a lot of gains to make still as well, which is incredibly exciting. So yeah, big things to come from Jack McDougall, I think.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on him. He's on boulder 1. Marcello's on boulder 3, which is coordination all the way from where he is now. And look at this from Ange as well. He's got the 5, but fell going to the next hold.
It was almost hard to see why Ange fell then. He looked he looked quite sturdy on the wall, but it looks like one of those boulders on number 2 where the positions are okay if you're comfortable, but moving out of them can be quite hard. Although I say that, and Marcello was just struggling to stay on the wall, so I don't know what I'm saying, you know, whereas Ange was quite comfortable but couldn't move.
Yeah, look at Jack going with the left hand and then having to match.
That. Yeah, the hold is so good and it's a lot easier to catch with the left hand, and it's not too tricky to match a hold that big for these guys. So yeah, it's great to see him getting established now and getting going.
Yeah, and into the 10 as well. So more points on the board for Jack.
Into the 10, his arm fully straight. He really had to try to fight and stay on the wall there, but eyeing down the 25 now.
Oh, that was an enormous swing he had to generate from down low all the way high with the left hand.
Opting for a slightly different style of movement through that. I think he'll need to change that up a little bit, add a bit more power into it, get those hips nice and high so he can squeeze between those 2 black volumes. The reason he needs to go faster and get his hips higher is so he's got more time to get his hands to both holds so that not just the left hand goes up.
Okay, well, that's the theory. Let's see if he can pull it off right now with Ange as he tries to bump that left hand and the right hand up. You can see how much he'd love to crack a toe hook in there. Marcello is, what's he doing? He's walking over to get his chalk over on the right. Boulders 3 and 4, by the way, very close together. They are separated by a line. And you can see that on Marcello's screen at the top, if you're confused by that. Jack has a shakeout to Marcello. You get to see this on the main screen.
This boulder looks wild.
Yeah, this launch, long way, and lots of different possible hand sequences as well. He's trying to miss one of the holds. Yeah,
often athletes do have preferences, and some tend to like quick hands, so using all the holds and moving through them, often matching on the holds. Others prefer to miss holds and do a bigger movement, so way more powerful with the setup, requiring less kind of pulling through the midsection. It can often be personal preference. There's not necessarily one way that works or one way that's easiest for everybody. I think on this one we'll definitely see a few different styles going through this midsection. Also, the last move looks exciting.
Yeah, it's kind of a run across the slab and then a palm press into the top.
It is, and this wall is high. Yeah. It feels so high. I know that sounds like a silly thing to say, but it does feel high.
No, you're right.
And the route setters agreed with me, so I'm not going crazy.
I think it's a legit concern, so let's hopefully they can spin in the air, land on their feet, which they are very good at doing, to be fair. All right, Jack hits the 10 once more, makes the match. And let's see if he does change things up here a bit.
Much slower, almost sticking the 25 with one hand. I wonder if we will see someone do that. He looked like he was maybe searching for a left toe underneath the red volume with the 10 on, but I think it'd be so much harder to go one hand. Unfortunately, we didn't see him try and go two hands, and that boulder's gone for him now, but still lots more to come.
Exactly. 20 athletes made it through the semi-finals. They qualified over the last 2 days. These 20 get whittled down to just 8 for tomorrow's final, and only one of those will go to the Olympics. The odds are truly against you as an athlete here.
But the hope is there.
Yes.
You know, someone has to take it,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. And it's climbing. I mean, anything can happen on the night as well.
Yeah, both in the men's and the women's here, it is impossible to call who's taking that ticket. There is no one favourite, I don't think.
I agree with you, yeah. It's wide open. So you can start making your bets at home. And do let us know who your favourites are. Who do you think is going to take the gold here in Laval? And we saw Simon Lorenzi. There he is.
Slightly different style to Jack there with his Jack's 1-2. Simon just waving around on one arm.
Oh.
And very quick into that two hands up high. You could see the difference in style on that last move. Simon not leaving any time to bring his right hand up as well. Definitely a bit too far out from the wall when he brought his hands up, and I think we'll see that be adjusted next time. But a really good first attempt from him. Yeah,
for sure. 1 minute gone, 4 minutes to go. And the screen is all yellow, as you can see. We've got 2 Belgian athletes and a Romanian athlete out there. And last rotation before we get to see the slab on men's 4. So Darius couldn't get off the ground really on boulder 2, needs to find something here.
Yeah, a tricky start here that we've not seen many athletes struggle on. But again, the route setters making them work for the 5 points, not just giving them away on these climbs at all. All of the boulders, you have to do some climbing in order to earn your 5 points.
Definitely. Look at the heel there from Nicolas Collin. That's keeping him in place on that sloper. Yeah, and a big breath out. That's a lot of power in there.
Very physical second boulder for sure.
Now Darius has got the zone. Now he needs to figure out this jump. To be caught between 2 mines there. Almost stopped or tried to stop on that dish. Not really a dish, is it? Sort of, what do I call that? A half moon?
Half moon.
Half moon, there we go.
Well, it's not quite half.
No.
A moon.
A moon.
Crescent.
Oh, nice. That's much better.
That's what they're called.
Yeah,
the
that's
Rock
true.
City Crescents.
Yes, thank goodness. One of us knows English.
Dear me, we're not even halfway through this event, Matt.
I know, we're in serious trouble here.
Thanks for putting up with us. If anyone wants to bring us some coffee, that'd be great.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, Darius is going again. Yeah, he's trying to stop that. Or maybe swing and get his left foot up. Scoreboard's on the right-hand side. It's out of 100, so 100 available for Boulder, 100 for lead. And the box on the right gets filled up all the way if they top it. 1 line if they get the first zone, 2 lines if they get the second.
The atmosphere in here has changed. It's got very tense all of a sudden, and I do wonder if the athletes feel that or not. Because I do think they're very aware of the crowd, but when the crowd ramps up, I definitely think you get a lot from it. Like, they're starting now, and there we go. I thought that might happen if Simon got close to that. He went 2 hands then, not 1, 2, 2 at the same time. And it worked really good, a great method.
It did, and look at his score. 24.8, so tight at the top for the ones who have topped out Boulder 1. So we're left with Nicolas Collin and Darius Rapper out on the stage on Boulder 3.
You can see a few route setters pacing around. Garrett Gregor, head route setter here, has done a really good job with his team. I think it's always quite nerve-wracking at the beginning of the round with the earlier climbers coming out and maybe not getting too established on some of the climbs or doing too well on some of them. So, yeah, I think it's a very tense moment at the beginning of a round for the route setters to be watching, but they put such a great effort in to really put on a show and, like I said earlier, to allow the climbers to express themselves.
Yeah, it's like showing your homework to the teacher, you know. It's like, this is what I've done, go for it. And yeah, now the athletes get to play. So Boulder 1 is finished. Boulder 4 isn't in action. We're on sticking with 2 and 3. 35 seconds to go. Darius cruising through this first move now. He's got it dialed.
He's really learned that so well, to go from struggling on it to being able to repeat it again and again and getting really incredibly close. He's got less than 20 seconds on the clock. He's choking up and going to go for another go, I think, here. Because those 10 points were in his hand.
So close, wasn't it? Well, he keeps going. Nicholas leaves. He's still going. 7 seconds, last attempt. And it's going to be timed out, I think. What an effort. I'm loving watching Darius climb.
He's not leaving anything. He's giving it all on the mats today.
He is. Well, he will go towards the left. That door leads to the isolation area out back. The cool-off area for the athletes. And it's slab time. Marcello on M4 walks over there. And Philip Schenk comes out. A man who seems to be as home on a lead wall as he is on a boulder wall. Good all-rounder is Philip. Or become one, for sure. So all the athletes, they can spend as long as they want looking at the boulders. They don't have to get climbing like you do in a league competition. Philip pulls off the ground. He's underway.
It does look steeper than 20. Come on.
It does. No, you're right. I think we should bring an iPhone out or put it against the wall. Oh, look, we've got progress. So this is the move we were talking about being a bit scary. You have to commit to running across that slab, pressing into the volume.
Scary for us maybe, but not for these guys. He decides to go straight for the 25, opting to not press. I think we'll see him try that again because he was so very close, and his fingers, obviously all these guys have got super strong fingers, so if they can make the distance like Anjay could there, that could be a great way to avoid that really difficult press move. But the fact that he stuck the coordination in the middle on his first try is really impressive from him, and I think we'll definitely see him on that top move again.
Yeah, he's going to get some confidence from that. I was certainly a bit nervous when he went for that run across. All right, Marcello standing up slowly, aiming towards that zone hold. It is good if you can get it, but obviously you've got to stand on some pretty bad feet to get there.
Good, but it's blocked as well, so very, very specific.
All right, Philip goes for the launch, easy from him.
He hit that 25 with so much control that he was able to actually go quite slowly on that move. He was really strong through his shoulder, and his contact strength was super impressive. Jack getting up high on boulder 2 now. It's really great effort from him.
Yeah, action all over the place. Keep up if you can. Hits the 10, but drops it.
Hits the 10, but getting higher than most of the athletes we've seen on that so far.
And Shauna, hitting the 10 like that, he's not going to be awarded the points like that.
No, he has to hit it and control it or use it. So, great shot of Anjay there. Sorry to interrupt myself. No. I could not point that out.
All right, here he goes again. We'll discuss the zone in a sec. Let's see how he does this.
So, interestingly, he changes his mind. So he's not gone straight to the 25 this time. He's opted to go for the press. What's going to be really interesting now is which method he chooses. So we'll know now on his next try which method he thinks is easier, the press or going straight to the 25. I wonder if he maybe try and combine the two. So 25 with the right, press with the left. We will see when he falls back on. I definitely can't read his mind.
I wish we could. That would be great. A little speech bubble would help us a lot. And Marcello is staring up at the slab, trying to figure that one out. Jack made progress, but just looking down the scores, yeah, no 10 for him, so he's just got that 5. And Anjay, last move. And have a look when he goes for that jump again. We'll talk about it, but there is a jib as well on that palm press on boulder 3.
And just to explain for those who don't know, a jib is a extra hold, like screwed onto another hold. So it's screwed on, sometimes called a screw-on or a jib, and it just makes it often a little bit more positive. Jibs sometimes used to make things harder as well, but there is one on the palm press, so the hold that Anjay went for last time.
Yeah, we do have a special series of videos coming out on the IFSC Instagram where we go through various different hold types and we talk about jibs on that. So, good chance for you guys to subscribe to that channel. See, seamless link there for
shameless
subs. I know. See, I prefer seamless, not shameless, but I do agree. All right, let's see what he does this. Which method is he going to use? Oh, and he's done it well. That's the jib we were talking about. That's the top, and that's a big moment for him as he gets it done with 40 seconds remaining.
Anjay already 3 boulders in. His score is bigger than his qualification boulder round score was at the end of the round. He's still got a boulder left to go. Meanwhile, Jack on boulder 2 just slipping there, kind of again struggling to hold the positions, even moving between the holds, let alone moving between the holds. So yeah, it looks like a tough one. He's looking back at it. I think he would love to have a few more goes at that, but unfortunately not to be.
Yeah, and this slab is still causing Marcello problems. There go the buzzers. He finally got stood up into it, but not enough time to work out the last part.
But an important 5 points to gain. I think we might need to take a moment here because it's about to get real loud in here right now.
Well, we have a French athlete who is also a world champion waiting in the wings. There he is, Michael Mawem. He took victory in Bern on that amazing no-texture boulder. And yeah, listen to that reaction.
Oh, and he loves it. He's so great. I've seen him signing so many autographs. He had a queue the length of the stadium the other day of young kids and like not just young kids, everybody wanting to come and say hi. And he spends so much time and dedication to his fans. It's really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I agree. A real ambassador. So let's see if Michael can get this figured out quick. Simon is on the powerful boulder 2. Darius is back on the slab. All right, Michael made a move off the ground and he got cheered there.
Yeah, it's going to get pretty wild in here because we have our first of 4 French men. So they had 4 women in semi-finals and 4 men.
Yeah, lots to cheer about. But right now, Nicolas Collin. Ah, that was well done. So matched the first crescent, then went on from there.
I'm not even sure what happened then.
Well, Michael's got into the second zone as well. It's all going off. Darius is standing on the slab. Ah, Michael tops out. Quick send for him, makes the match.
Michael with really interesting beta on boulder 1 as well for the last move, opting to go off the left foot, but right now, all eyes are on Nicolas as he sets up for the last move. Woohoo!
Yeah, went for the big run across. Nice, safe.
He went very aggressively to that last move. You could see his arms swinging. He had a lot of power going into it. Not trying to stop and press like we saw Anjay do really successfully, trying to get all the way to the 25. I think we'll see him change that up a little bit next time and maybe try and go more delicately.
Now, Shawnee, you're like this. The setters removed a jib on that white volume to prevent beta breaking, which I know is your favourite thing, just to stop the athletes going low on those holds.
I did come up and have a good look at this to see if athletes were going to try and go low. I don't think it would work, and I'm assuming the setters don't think it would work, but yeah.
Always a possibility, eh? Well, look at this.
Darius doesn't need it, though. He does not need a beta break. He is cruising through this section and just staying really calm and composed. Good nod of the head there as he looks up and eyes up that 25.
And he's got time on the clock, 2:25, so he's got a couple of attempts. Now, the last move he's got to do, it's a big one, and there's no lip above it, so he's pressing underneath it, or the thumbs or the palm, perhaps, as he sets himself. There is a jib out there. You can just see it, green on black there.
Yeah.
Oh. Big shake of the head there. Oh, the all yellow continues across your screen. it's a bit addictive. It feels like watching Angry Birds or something on TV. Don't know
I love
why.
how your mind
I know,
works.
like why? As I said it, I wanted to unsay that. All right, a minute and a half, Nicolas Collin.
I wonder if they watch this back and think, okay, Matt thinks we're Angry Birds.
I need sponsorship, is all I'm saying. Send me a check. Well, this method looks good. The
It
match
looks really smooth. He's so controlled through that movement. Really, really nice climbing to see. I hope he can bring some of that flow into this next section and really land on that foot precisely.
Yeah, here we go. A big moment, takes a breath, starts the swing.
Going for the big swing again.
The problem is that crimp's directional and small, so if you're running right, presumably you start to rotate through it.
Directional, small, and sloping.
Yeah.
It's not really a crimp. It's kind of just a bad hole. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. The fact that he's swinging his arm, he's putting so much momentum into the movement that it's really hard to stop that.
Yeah.
So what we saw Anjay do is he kind of did a little hop onto the hold, whereas Nicolas is moving through the hold and isn't able to stop. There's no opposition. Yeah, I'm not sure how he's going to make that way work unless he can get a bit of an arc in his movement to kind of stunt the momentum on the foothold. But yeah, it's interesting that he's got such solid movement through the midsection and then kind of movement that's not being very effective on the upper section.
So work to do.
Maybe
but
it'll
yet,
work.
yeah, well, he's back on again at that move, cruising up to that point. 10 seconds though, it's going to be a buzzer baker. Darius as well, he's going to have to speed up. No go on Boulder 3. 5 seconds, he's going to get timed out. Oh, and a flip to finish things off. Go on, backflip again. Let's finish things off. Yeah, if you missed it, Darius performed a backflip celebration at the beginning, which I actually missed, mainly because I never expect to see that. Oh, wait. No, I thought he was going to go again. All right, well, the time goes. We have our rotation. Another Belgium athlete out. Hannes van Dyssen, athlete number 9, onto the mats. Philip Schenk on Boulder 2. Jack's back in action on the coordination, and Anjay is down on M4. And Hannes van Dyssen won Golden Holds comp recently in Israel and looked really special out there. Great performance from him, so certainly in comp form at the moment.
Yeah, he's only 19 years old, but he did also have a great qualification round in bouldering. Less so in lead, but he got a really good score in the boulder round. Of course, that's kind of yesterday only. It feels like a long time ago, but he's looking smooth on this first one and confident.
He is. He could be an outside favourite, so keep an eye on Hannes throughout this competition, but he drops the last move this time.
We've seen him in 2 boulder finals this year. He's finished 2nd in Hatjoji this year. So, yeah, he's also been in 5 of 6 semi-finals this year. So he's had a really great year leading up to this event. But, of course, it's worth remembering that there have been a lot of events this season. There's been a big build-up to this event. We've seen some athletes looking tired and looking fatigued, and other athletes fired up and ready. So it's hard to say what the season kind of how that's prepared the athletes and if it's kind of tired them out or if it's fired them up.
Well, we said, I mean, it is a long season this year. We started back in April and we're going to go, you know, some of them are finishing today, others have got to wait until December to finish, so it is a long one. And mentally, that's what all the coaches have been telling me. It's not a physical thing, it's mentally keeping engaged throughout.
I'd argue it's a physical thing a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
Ice
Maybe
baths,
both.
that's the way forward.
There's only so much an ice bath can do.
I've never attempted to do one. I never will, I don't think. Right, Anjay is on the final sequence here. He's got the 10 in his hand. Let's see if he can figure out this press to the top.
So you've spoken with the setters. Is this a twist? Do you pivot here and come onto the hold like Anjay's doing? So I haven't spoken with the setters about this one, but to me it looks like you almost want to pivot onto the undercut.
Yeah, honestly didn't ask them about that move. Okay. I was more focused on the final one. But yeah, so you've got a point, because there's a few ways through that. We also just saw Hannes there top out Boulder 1. Philip is getting set here. Hits the crescent with the left hand. Solid from him. And he's on the jib. So are we going to see a 10? So far, no one's managed it.
Good to see there. He was slowly letting go with that right hand. Jack is on the last move of Boulder 3.
And close, trying to bring the left hand all the way over.
Yeah, that was a last-ditch effort to try and save it. I think he was looking for the right-hand press, same way that Anjay did it, and then as his shoulders started to twist, he realized he wasn't going to hold it, so looked for the top hold, almost making it work. Very, very nearly, but not quite, unfortunately. Definitely enough time for another go for Jack, though.
Yeah, and this is the sequence with the underclings. You're right, you can see some chalk underneath, so perhaps.
Yeah, I wondered here if you'd need to transition onto the grey volume with the hands, and then you can weight the foot, so kind of getting into a perched position. It looks really difficult to set up and go to the top from here because that top hold is so bad.
I was kind of expecting the athletes to more powerfully go for that, sort of rock up on the jib and go, because if you're doing it statically, it's a long way.
It is, unless they can turn and transition onto the grey volume as an undercut, and then they can stand up directly underneath the hold. It's going to be really difficult to go fast there because the hold you're going to is so bad and the foot isn't great either.
So big ask. Come on, Jack. He gets himself set. Oh, that left hand just seemed to miss the jib.
Yeah, he hit the right really accurately, as you saw, and it just tells you how bad these holds are. These guys have got such strong fingers. If that hold had any positivity on it, they would be holding on to it. So, yeah, Jack just having to learn on the wall up there, really getting challenged by that move, but making adjustments, and hopefully we've got enough time to see him try that again and he doesn't get flustered on the start. He looks really smooth through the start, and Anjay as well, looking smooth through the slab and collecting some important points with a good score on the board already.
Yeah, 64.4, and he could make that even more if he can get this, but he can't that time. And 25 seconds isn't going to be enough time. Jack also going a little bit backwards now, runs back to the start. All right, let's pay attention to this then. The launch all the way over, but it's not going to happen for Jack. So close for Jack. Not this time. No, the team of volunteers rush on. They do that between the rounds in order to clean the boulders up, get rid of some chalk and dirt. And of course, the athletes have the option for them to brush it during the round, and they can brush the boulders themselves. Martin Belgian runs on for Slovenia. And Mikel is going to have to ramp things up in terms of physicality for Boulder 2 as well.
Boulder 1 fastly becoming a very important 25 points to get if you want to stay in the mix here.
It's my favourite thing, especially about semi-finals actually, is that you get to discover the story of the round as you go on. You know, which boulders are actually the hard ones, which ones you need to get.
Yeah, it's a fun round to watch, and also with lead coming later on, it's definitely becomes very obvious where you need to get to progress to the next round, to finals. Boulder 3 right now, all eyes on there because we've got a very quick send up to that last move.
I think he might be on his flash go. Let's see. He starts the swing, comes into it, tries to hold it with just the right hand on the jib and can't quite. And Mikel making progress as well. Slowly, he wants to bring that right hand in. Look at that.
Such strength.
That's all he's holding on to up there. Gets the 10.
Oh, right hand ripped as he's moving upwards. He was so stable in that position, but wow, it shows how bad that hold is if his hand's ripping off without hardly any movement.
I call that a Tetris fall, when you sort of fall in the same position as you were on the wall.
I like that. I've not heard that before.
All right, Nicholas is squatting down on that white volume. Brings the foot over. There is a jib down there, as Shauna said earlier, screw on. And he's not on it yet, though. Brings the left foot up, and now he'll be able to bring that right foot down onto the jib. Gets himself set. Martin as well, struggling on that first move on Boulder 1. And good moves. Look at this. He's stopping. Hits the final hold. Makes the match. That's 25. Minus attempts, of course.
That was really cool to see. Great climbing from him. He looks almost disappointed. I wish you could tell them that that was really important and that was really good to get those points on the board, but they are in the moment right now.
Yeah, I want to give like a thumbs up as they leave. You can't see us, of course, in the commentary box or at the back. Listen, Mika's getting a personalised chant here in the stadium. Wow. That's pretty special, isn't it? Well, hope you're keeping up with us. If you just joined us, this is the men's semi-final Boulder round.
Mika's start position, did you see that? So he's pulling on left foot on the top of the right hold, pulling his right toe around to tap that start position, which is totally legit. You see it here.
Oh, yeah.
Really smart climbing from him, showing his experience. He is the eldest competitor in the round at 33, but the fact that he's the eldest does not mean very much at all other than experience, because he's the current Boulder World Champion.
That is true. He's wise, let's call him that.
One of my favourite sporting moments was seeing him take that title. What an emotional competition, very worth watching.
Yeah, it really was. That was back in the World Champs in Bern.
Seems like a lifetime ago now.
It really does, doesn't it? 36 hours we were broadcasting for. What a feast of climbing that was. And that was, of course, the first chance for these athletes to get an Olympic ticket. We gave away 3 at that event, but just 1 available here.
Yeah, to explain that a little bit, the World Championships in Bern that took place in August was the first opportunity to gain the Olympic tickets, both in speed and boulder and lead. And now we're at the European Championships, because we're taking the Continentals are taking place right now. So we've had Pan America, and now we're on Europe, and then we'll have the other 3 continents take place before the end of the year. At the Continentals, only the winner, so only the gold medalist gets their ticket. You might walk away with a medal, but you won't necessarily walk away with a ticket. And then after this, we have the Olympic Qualifier Series taking place next year. So there's 10 spots available for lead and boulder at the Olympic Qualifier Series, both for men and women. However, if you don't qualify ahead of that, it doesn't mean you need to be at that event. You need to be peaking for that event in order to secure your ticket. So it is huge. This event is massive. Athletes want to get that ticket. They want to have that security going into next year. It changes everything, all the setup towards the next season. So although it seems like, oh, there's another chance, it's not that important, it really does change things.
Exactly. I mean, you'd have to train like an Olympic athlete almost up to the Olympics. You might not even get in. So having these points, as you said, psychologically as well, everything just makes it all easier, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. All right, well, next round, our first Austrian athlete of the round is on. He is Nikolai Uznik. Hannes van Dyssen on the power problem of Boulder 2. Philip Schenk and Jack McDougall. There are 4 athletes in action. Nikolai takes a moment to have a look. So we're about halfway through now. We're over halfway. Sasha Lehmann next, and Medji Schalck. He'll get a big reaction coming up. So Hannes needs to tap that starting position before he can get going.
And every time both of your feet leave the ground, that counts as an attempt. So even if you don't get established, it counts. Nikolai, Boulder 1. As expected, it's his style. You know, he loves that powerful, steep coordination style. He seems very comfortable in that style of boulder, but you definitely need to kind of keep your cool, especially coming out to a boulder like that for your first one. So yeah, great performance from him.
It really was. So he's off with a bang, and that will settle him down backstage. Jack, meanwhile, he needs to finish on a high here. He's in 6th, good score with 29.1 at the moment, but if he can add to it, it'll make a big difference later on.
Jack often performs really well on slabs. He's had some really great performances both in comp and in training. He's previously told me he loves the slab, which I struggle to understand. I'm not the biggest slab fan, but yeah, he really enjoys it, and I think you can see that in his competition performances too. And
look at Philip in the middle of your screen. He hung that 10, and now he's on the final move as well, and Jack is 1 move away too. And look, he's using the undercling.
Yeah, so I think what we'll see here is he'll try and turn his entire body to the right so that he can get that as much as possible from that undercling, and that's what he was attempting to do there. You can see his hips start to shift.
Yeah, it was a good spot, that, Shauna. See, this is why we have you, because you're just obviously so experienced in reading these boulders and seeing these things. Yeah, go back and watch the semi-finals this morning, because Shauna gave some brilliant insight, because she climbed the boulders last night for the women. And certainly I've got lots of comments, people saying how much they enjoyed that analysis. So we need to get you on the men's as well.
Whew. I mean, I'd love to try, happily.
I'd love to try too. I think trying is about as far as I get. All right, Jack boosts up towards the first zone hold. Yeah, a bit quiet in here at the moment. The audience just settling into this competition. So Phillips up towards the first zone. And Jack, let's see if he does this twist. Philip once more back up to the business end. Jack looking comfortable there as he chalks
He does,
up.
doesn't he? I was just about to say he looks composed, he looks confident. He's really spending time to like make a plan and figure it out. Boulder 3 getting a top at the top of your screen as well, but the main camera on Jack as he approaches the last move.
Could be a first top on this boulder, stretching centimetres away, but the foot goes.
Foot goes, there's time on the clock. Come on, Jack.
So he thought he had it. Remember, you've got to match that hold. You can't just get a finger on it. But yeah, Philip Schenk leaves the stage on boulder 3. And you can see that's now greyed out on the top, so we get to focus on this action. Hannes up again, gets the heel in. That sloper he's holding there as well. I was amazed how poor it was. Nothing on that.
Yeah, it's really a case of compressing between the holds at that point on boulder 2.
All right, Jack does that. Ooh, slips again.
He almost seems to get a little flustered as the clock starts to tick down. He is a really young athlete and maybe showing a little bit of his like age with that. It's a shame because I would love to see him on these moves again, and I hope he manages to work through this and not let that clock ticking down fluster him too much. He's looking better now. He just needs to really keep his cool through this next section. On the go where he got really high, he looked so calm and collected.
Yeah, he was a bit stabby down low, but now it looks, goes up really fast.
It's a shame he had time to spend there, and yeah, it's unfortunate that we didn't see him get to give that a really good go. That's definitely possible for Jack, you know, he just didn't have the time to figure it out, and that's the hardest thing about competition climbing is you have to do it in that moment, right there and then.
And that was a shot of the top of that final boulder. So as you saw in that shot, nothing on top of it, just underneath.
I don't even think there's much underneath. I think it's a case of it's there because there needs to be something to match, but you aren't going to be able to stand up and save it. So you can press against it lightly, but it's almost pointless, that hold.
Yeah, so
I'm not calling the route setters pointless.
I'll tell them. All right, Sasha Lehmann is on. See, he needs to keep in touch here. We know how good he is on a lead rope. He's a good boulder as well, of course, but it's just about staying in touch for Sasha at this moment. Starts things off, hits the right hand well.
Interestingly, in the men's qualification, we did not see a top on the lead route, so we didn't see that 100 points gained. Sasha walking away from lead with 68.1. Often we would assume he'd potentially get higher up into the bigger scores. Of course, a good score, but in boulder he did get a 44.3 in qualification, so we know he's definitely in contention for definitely getting into the finals. And yeah, he's here to fight for that Olympic spot too, as are all the athletes, of course.
Yeah, of course, and Mika here. Oh, that's a huge fall from Mika. Wow. Yeah, and shakes his neck there, I would too.
That was a big hit.
Yeah, a big commitment from him. He's not someone who leaves anything behind on the mats, you know, Mika. You sort of feel he's given everything and then he walks away happy with what he's done, usually anyway. All right, Martin, I haven't talked much about Boulder 2.
It's hard to talk about because then it's really difficult. We've not seen anyone get the 10 on Boulder 2 yet. It's definitely one that's making the athletes really fight just to stay on the wall, let alone move between the holds. Like I've said, I think Of course, the holds are really bad, but you've got to remember it's warm in here. There's lights beaming on that wall, and these athletes are really having to put up with all of the pressure that's weighted on top of them as well, both from like the outside world and from within, because like I said, if they're able to secure an Olympic ticket here, it changes so much next season, and also potentially changes their selection events, their funding, everything. There's so much more going on than what we see.
Sean, you're stressing me out. I can't handle this. But there is so much going on for them,
You know, some athletes, if they walk away with a podium position here, that could mean the difference between funding or not, for example. So there's a lot more going on than what we see on the screen, that's for sure.
Let's see if Mika can figure this out now. He came close. He took a big fall. He goes again. Better. He stops on that hold. And from there, it should be a simple match. And yes, he's got it done.
Showing such maturity in his climbing, showing why he is the world champion, you know. He took that big hit, he corrected exactly what he needed to in his movement. He hit that press, so he was pushing up with his hands, which allowed him to push down with his feet, stopping his movement at the perfect time, and then just reaching to the finish.
Yeah, so good work from him. His screen at the top is gone, so we're left with just 3. Sasha's still in action, Martin's on. Oh, and a big pop there for Sima Lorenzi. Love how Sasha rests. I try to learn from Sasha Lehmann because he just finds good positions to shake and hang for a sec.
I think there's learning, but it's also the fact that he is fit enough to recover. Personally, I am not, so I don't think I can learn from his resting position. I think I'd be getting more pumped.
I like to have aspirations, put it like that. Learn for the best, or try. Well, Sasha, though, is going to have to find something as we come up towards 1 minute left. Sima looks a bit frustrated. He's gone very dynamically a few times towards that 5 zone hold. It's not working. Slab for Martin, hits the sloper, gets the foot, gets the heel on, rocks onto that. Trying to crimp the edge of the wall. So lots of hands on hips at the moment. This is the move from Seaman, just doesn't look close at the moment.
Yeah, he's tried quite a few different methods on this. And we didn't talk about it much on Boulder 2. On Boulder 3, because he did it kind of with relative ease, it seemed like. But yeah, getting established on this slab is proving really difficult for him. I'll just check my stats. He has a 50% success rate on slabs, so we would expect him to definitely be getting involved and being in the mix on this climb. It's not going to be a familiar place for him to not be getting established, so you can see the frustration building. But yeah, that was a great button beater from Sasha on Boulder 1, and a really important 25 points to get, like we've said.
Yeah, he had to fight to the very end, but he just pulled it off.
Just going to give you a heads up for the next athlete, Matt. You might want to watch your ears again, because our poster boy for this event is about to head onto the mats.
All right, well, cover your ears, turn down the volume. Medji Schalck is out. And yeah, big reaction from this young man. His dad, I love talking about Medji's dad because he's awesome, but he's wandering around. He could not sit still earlier on today. He just moving around the stadium.
And just to explain, when I say poster boy, he's quite literally the poster boy. He is on the posters. He's on the mugs here.
There's a mug?
He's on the cups. Yeah, I can show you one right here.
I have not seen this. Oh, there is a mug. Wow, Shauna is showing me a cup with Medji's face on it and muscles.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, I need to get me one of them.
You need a Medji mug.
I need a Medji mug. Well, Medji, you could hear us. He fired off the first move. So come on, Medji, you got a mug. You need to do better than that.
Medji's such a strong athlete. He's had a great season. I think there's a lot of pressure on him coming into this competition. He's one that, of course, I mean, he's the poster boy. There's one to watch, of course. And I think that seemed to play with him a little bit in the Boulder round, only scoring 45. I say only because we would expect more from Medji. I'm going to say I think he's very capable of doing all of the boulders, so to walk away with only 45, it left him a lot to do in the lead route in order just to progress to the semi-finals. He did an incredible performance on lead, walking away with 68.1, so a better lead round than the Boulder round from points perspective. But yeah, it's interesting that he's not kind of getting involved with this first one straight off the bat, but I think we'll see him kind of settle his nerves and get into some flow throughout this round. I really hope so anyway, because yeah, he's a very, very good climber to watch on the mats because he's so capable and so expressive in his climbing.
Yeah, he is. He's always described as bouncy by various people. You could see that he's just got this spring and he's up into that.
It's like he heard you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Medji. There we go. See, he's heard the mug thing. He's performing now. Right, so right foot up. Final move for Medji. We stick with him. And also, yeah, look at boulder number 3 as well.
Medji, hesitation, a lot of hesitation on that last move. He couldn't decide which foot to put on. Earlier, Mikhail Nawam, he put his left toe on, which was the only athlete we've seen do that, I believe. So it really tucked him into the wall, so a different style of jump. Medji flicking his feet back and forth, almost looked like he wanted to press into the 25. Interesting that he is hesitating so much. I thought that might have got out of his system by now with those first few failed attempts going to the 5, but hopefully we'll see that kind of get corrected and kind of him find his flow. But yeah, not the Medji we want to see. We want to see him feeling fit, feeling flowy and bouncy, like you said.
Yeah, let's see if he can find some of that. He has got time. Remember, it's only we need the top 8 to get through, so winning it isn't in the athletes' minds right now. Obviously, they want to do as good as possible to get up that ranking, but tomorrow is where the medals are decided. Oh, Hannes, quick hands through that middle part, gets himself set for the top. Yes, and the top.
A good correction from him, great learning on the previous attempts, and really good execution coming into that press.
I'm still holding my breath every time they press up into that. We've seen, you know, Mika firing off it earlier on. It's one of those moves. You don't look away.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's wild, yes. Now Philip is going horizontal. Trying to stretch all the way to the right before standing up towards the zone, or maybe not going for the zone.
Just to point out, there's some black tape on the wall you can see between boulders M3 and M4. The athletes can't cross that black tape, that's why that's there. Just to stop them using the holes from the other climbs.
Yeah. All right, here goes Medji once again.
Just interesting from Medji here, his hand firing off. It's not the Medji we're used to seeing. He looks really uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's not settled yet, is he? You feel like he just needs one top, and then he might calm himself down. But if it doesn't happen here, I'm concerned for the future. So let's just see Nikolai. We haven't talked much about Nikolai because he's on that boulder too, which is difficult, as we discussed.
Yeah, I feel like we're not saying much about that, but it is a difficult one to talk about because we're not seeing many athletes get established, let alone make progress. It's cool to have hard boulders, that's for sure, and I do hope we get to see some tops of that boulder. And we have athletes coming out that have won gold medals, multiple gold medals for some of them. So, you know, these athletes do need to be tested and pushed, but it would be good to see some more 10s and potentially a 25 on that boulder too. It's always hard when a boulder goes untopped.
I like to see it top, just someone at the end, if you would, athletes, please.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's definitely some hope coming.
Yeah, there's a few names, aren't there? Well, Sam Abazu is out. His sister was performing earlier. Sam is another one to watch, part of a big climbing dynasty, which is very involved in the French team as well in terms of coaches. I think her mum is a coach. And just a family dynasty within that French team.
My mum is a coach, a previous competitive athlete.
You competed with her?
Competed in a World Cup final with Sam and Zelia's mum. She's here. Cecile is absolutely lovely, and she always comes over and says hi to my daughter Frankie. And yeah, it's pretty wild to see her with her children and be there with my daughter, thinking that we've competed in a World Cup final together. Yeah, it's really cool, and now she's very involved with the French team. It's great to see her and the team all doing so well.
Yeah, and this is a flash go from Sam as well. So he's set, he wants to go static, he's going to go for the jump, hits it, beautiful from Sam, he's floating up that.
Yeah, floating is a great word. He looked smooth, he looked calm, very different to Medji, I would say, in his approach, in his facial expression, everything. We saw him make the heel work. We've not seen any athlete do that yet, but we saw other athletes try. So yeah, it's definitely interesting that he was able to keep collected and make his method work in that moment.
All right, here's Mika, his teammate. I was worried about the right foot. He took a while to drill it in, but he's got it now.
He did, but he was the only person to make it across the slab in the men's qualification round. It did go untopped, but he was the only person to get anywhere near it, the only one to get the 10 on that boulder. So we know he's capable, but can he hold it together and get that 25?
Yeah, he seems to have read it the right way with this turn he's trying to do. Oh, look at this control.
Really patient climbing, not rushing, taking his time. Can he keep it collected and together as he stands up to this top hold? He's poised, he's down, he's ready to stand.
Oh, come on, make the match, he does. Fingertips, that's enough.
That was a lesson in slab climbing. He stood up, he didn't move his hands, he kept his body position, shoulders and hips perfectly tight to the wall, and then, once he was in control, taking both hands up to make that match. That was beautiful, beautiful climbing.
It was, and with a score of 79.7, that is a big statement before we go into the lead this evening. Mika Mawam has showed his intent for the finals for sure with that one. So we stay with Sasha and Martin on the stage.
There's a lot of smiles from cameramen and film crew there. I think they were enjoying that one.
Yeah, Team France is celebrating in the stadium. All right, Martin starts this launch, missed the middle crescent, hits the second to last one.
Nod of the head though, he looked like he learned a lot on that go, so hopefully we see him stick that next.
All right, Sasha's pulling on again. Those first couple of holds covered in chalk, but after that, hardly any chalk. No athletes getting up to the 10 yet.
And no athletes using the forearm.
No,
either.
I'm disappointed by that.
So if you're just joining us, Matt was telling me how the route setters had figured out you can wrap your right hand around the top of the start hold, getting your right forearm on the side, and therefore getting a bit more, I guess, contact with the hold, which allows you to move up relatively easily to the next blue. But we've not seen an athlete figure that out yet.
No, I shouldn't have mentioned it. This is what happens. All right, well, Martin has a look over, checks the time, 1 minute 20 left. He'll skip over that. Gets that toe hook locked in. I mean, he gave himself that nod, but seems to be getting further away in these last couple of attempts.
It's so fascinating watching different climbers on this. There's actually a crew here doing movement analysis, which I can't wait for that to make it into the commentary box until we get those stats, because it's so hard to see what is different in the climbers who make successful attempts and those who don't, and whether it is their body positioning, whether it's their speed, is it their contact strength, and it is really hard to see, because it almost looks like they're doing the exact same thing, but of course there's a lot of different things going on in that moment.
Yeah, and the slightest body shift away can change things. Sasha leaves, Martin is going backwards at the moment. He's going to keep going, of course, needs zones.
Almost looking to tie it. You can see as he flicked into that first position, arms really extended, shoulders kind of giving in a little bit there. Luckily, the slab is not so shouldery coming up, so hopefully he can get a good rest in this 5 minutes now and come out feeling a bit fresher for the slab.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because the first three are really physical, quite powerful, big moves, and you do have to just change the style on that slab completely.
Change the style, change the pace, kind of calm yourself down and go really steady. Speaking of calming down, I hope Medji's kind of recovered from that upset on the first one and come out focused for number 2, but number 2 is a really intense one to walk out to, and we know those 25 points on that first boulder are so incredibly important.
Yeah, they are, so Medji's going to have to do something special if he wants to get back into the game on boulder 2. Luka Potoja joined us. Another Slovenian athlete, his first boulder of the afternoon. Nicholas Colau on the coordination, and then Hannes van Dyssen on the slab, and Hannes is a good slab climber, so I'm expecting some things from him here. Look at this, all four pretty much on the wall at the same time. Great to see in that shot. All right, Medji, look, he's trying to get that toe jam you were talking about. Oh, but it's such a small gap.
It really is. This boulder is really proving to be such a battle, so physical and intense. Nikolai, quick work on boulder 3 there, and he wants the crowd to appreciate that for what it was. It was really impressive.
It was, wasn't it? Well, he's got 2 out of 3.
Almost looked too easy. They didn't want to give him much.
Well, Nikolai leaves early. Hannes tries to run over to the right. Yeah, I'm thinking about what you said about Medji settling down. You know, as you said, if you want to get settled, coming into a boulder like that is the worst case scenario, really.
And I expect, knowing that it's difficult from the crowd's reactions, it's going to be, a hard place to be for Medji right now.
Well, Hannes locks his fingers into that blocked hold. Hasn't got the right foot on the jib yet. Now he needs to drop it down slightly more to be on top of it. There it is.
Yeah, we've seen some athletes opt to stand further back on that hold as well, but it does look a lot better if you stand on that jib. So, yeah, it's cool that he's made that work and really starting to progress into this tricky finishing section. We know it's not over from here, so when you get the 10, it's definitely not a given to get that 25. He's still got some really awkward but interesting moves to do. Watching Mikhail on this was really fascinating and really, like I said earlier, a good lesson in slab climbing for how he maneuvered his body around these volumes here and then stood straight up. So he waited until he was right underneath 25 so he could go straight up onto that foot and get his weight through.
Yeah, and Hannes has done a similar kind of thing. Eventually he's got there.
He has, but his left foot is still on the left volume, so it's not underneath him. So he's in a really awkward position to stand up now, and he looks like he wants to go fast. He looked like he was going to try and find a hold. Whereas Mikhail, he wasn't trying to find the hold, he was trying to find his body position. He was just standing up, and the hands were an afterthought. He had to get that stand, whereas we saw then that if you stand and reach up, it throws your shoulders back, which loses all the balance coming off the wall, unfortunately.
Yeah, so adjustments to be made for Hannes, but came close. Medji hasn't had that settling performance yet. It's all to play for. It's tense here. Not as low scoring as the women's, I don't think, in terms of boulders, but still, it's a nervy semi-final this for the men. Luca, though, looks strong, catches with the left hand on the crimp, makes the match, goes up. Last move to go for him now. Yeah, gets it done. I think boulder 1 is so important.
And Medji stood there on the mats right now as well, so it's going to be adding that pressure onto his shoulders, but great from Luca to get that done. We know that Luca is a lead specialist, winning gold medals in the competitions previously. He finished the boulder round with 49.4 and the lead round with 76 in the qualification. So it's really good for him to be getting that 25. And it almost looks like that fired Medji up a little bit, I think. You could see he looked a bit more feisty on that attempt, just slipping with the heel, unfortunately. We've seen quite a few foot slips from him in this competition.
Yeah, it seems to just kind of put a fire under him. Let's see if he can do something with that. Hannes, meanwhile, is trying to get the right foot on the jib, which he does eventually. And Medji gets set, hits the sloper, but falls. All right, well, let's see if Hannes can adjust. So he needs to drop that left leg more underneath him.
Yeah, you see he's trying to step it through then. He's opted to change his mind. His left leg was what held him back last time, I think, which is why he was trying to change that. Actually, as he was starting to rush a little bit there, it looked like he might have made it work, but a bit too flustered right at the end, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, a couple of athletes still to go in this semi-final. Yannick Floé, Alberto Hines Lopez, Paul Gem, Toby Roberts and Adam Ondra to come. So an Olympic champion in the mix as well. And there is Yannick Floé. He's not the biggest fan of slabs, so I think he'll quite like the setting on these at the moment.
Yeah, Yannick not having the boulder round we expected either. Walking away with 48.5. Yannick is we know he's capable of really impressive things in Boulder, but also in lead, because he finished the lead round with 84.1, and we've seen him in finals of both disciplines in World Cups this year, and he's looking smooth. A foot pop there, almost a little bit too casual, I think, but he looks like he means business.
Does, doesn't he? Look at that from Yannick. Easy in, flowed through that, and I think that was just a little look to say, and what?
Yeah.
What was that about?
He almost like he shook his head to say that's too easy,
yeah.
but we know it isn't.
No, but I think when Yannick is on, he does find stuff like that super cruisy. Let's look at Sam Avizu, though. I want someone to get that 10. Big hit from Sam, but couldn't find the left foot. Sasha as well is spread out. 2 hands on, catches the zone this time. It's all go here.
It's a very similar round points-wise currently to the women's, actually. Interesting to note, because it's so impossible for the setters to know what's going to happen. Of course, they have to guess as best they can, but it's impossible to know for sure. And I was asking both the route setters and the judges too, is it harder with these points? Is it more difficult to route set for? Is it more difficult to judge? And yes, it is, because it is different, and the game's changed a little bit. The reason it's a points-based system is because we have to combine the 2 sports for the Olympic Games, and that's because we have 2 sets of medals. Speed has 1 set, and Boulder and Lead, as a combined event, have another set. So yeah, it's tricky to combine 2 events. Easier to combine 3, actually, but points-wise, trickier to do 2.
Yeah, it's part of this Olympic process we're going through. Look at it, hasn't got his right foot on the jib, and look, good shot there.
Sorry, yeah, he keeps bumping his foot up, actually. It's almost sliding down towards the jib, and he's opting to keep it close into the wall. I think he wants it on the jib, so he's got more space to move, but maybe it didn't feel good there. It slipped off, so he's opting to stick it on the volume instead. Yeah,
I think that time it seemed to be a decision, because he certainly had a long look at it. Now he's cleaning that jib. All right, Sasha launches up to the 10, makes the match. Keeping an eye on the score. Remember, only the top 8 move forward, but this is just half of the semi-final. Lead later on. And Sasha is doing his lead thing up there on the wall, chalking up, finding a rest, getting himself set. And it's good from Sasha. Hits the 25, will make the match, and that's points on the board for the Swiss athlete. Sasha Lehmann, 2 out of 2 now. Setting himself up well as he moves into 7th. Martin, meanwhile, as we stick with him, stands up, makes the match on that blocked, I don't know what to call it. It's not really a crimp, that zone hold. A nubbin, a spike, I don't know.
I like nubbin.
Nubbin's a good one. And look, he has adopted this again, really high. Maybe now trying to, no, he's not.
No, he likes the high. It must feel maybe grippier. The jib maybe starting to feel a little bit slippery, but not giving him much space. So if he puts his foot further out, he can lean very slightly into the wall. Of course, it is a very small difference, but it does make a difference.
Yeah, so adjustments needed for Martin. Sam Avizu shakes out those arms, trying to get unpumped on the so far impossible Boulder 2. Martin's up again. Sitting down in 15th, all zones, but no tops for him. Really horizontal. Now he's got his right foot on the jib, trying something a little different. All right, what will he do? And yeah, that's Sam Avizu leaving the stage. 20 seconds to go for Martin. Sticks with the high right foot, doesn't work.
We're seeing athletes walk away from Boulder 2 quite early, kind of knowing, I think, that that one is the hard one of the round, knowing there's not many points to get on there if it does feel as difficult as it is seeming to. So, yeah, wise choices, I think, because they have a lot of climbing left to do.
Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow is the big day. Whoever can make it into the finals, that will be tomorrow.
And the route later.
Oh, yes, there is the small
that.
matter of that lead route. Hanging in the shadows, reminding us.
Well, they all have to go on the route later. Only 8 of them get to climb tomorrow.
That's true, yeah. So skin needs to be saved. All right, Alberto is on from Spain. Let's see what he can do. Just 3 athletes after him to go. Alberto was the youngest Spanish gold medalist in history.
And the first sport climbing gold medalist in history.
Yep.
Him and Janja Gombrich taking the gold medals at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. It was a spectacle to witness.
It really was. So can he do it again? He hasn't got a ticket yet. He desperately wants one. Out he comes to the 10. A good hold from Alberto. Nikolai is on the slab as well. And Medji, let's see if he's found some bounce settled down as he goes for the final move. Not this time, but Alberto gets it done on Boulder 1.
Alberto really seems to know how to turn it on at the right moment. This year, he's made 2 of 6 semi-finals. For the Olympic gold medalist, you'd expect stats to look a little bit different to that. This is in Boulder. But yeah, it's so impressive that he's able to compose himself and really give a good performance when it counts. We saw him walk away from the qualification round with 44.8 in Boulder, 92.1 in lead. Lead is his preferred discipline, it's his specialty. However, I recently learned he has to drive 5 hours to train lead.
Really? I had no idea about that.
5 hours away from the lead wall.
He needs to move closer to a lead wall. That's what he needs to do.
Or he needs to have one bill. He's the gold medalist.
That's
Come
true.
on.
Come on. EP, get on it. Get on it. Right, Nikolai, last move. Remember, it's not about the hands. It's about standing up. But he does try to commit to the hand, which isn't really there, as we said.
It isn't. And did you see what threw him off then, Matt? Come on, do you know?
No, go on,
It was
tell me.
his shoulders this time, not his hip. Come on, we'll get there.
I nearly just said hips automatically.
Yeah, so his shoulders leant back as he reached up. When you reach your arm above your head, your shoulders often fall backwards, which pulled him off the wall. But Medji starting to find his flow now maybe, but his head is down, his hands are on his hips. It's not over yet, Medji. Come on. Still one boulder to go, still more points to get.
Yeah, sitting down though at the moment is Medji Schalck. That's bumped him up to 9th, but remember, if you don't do as well as you could do in a boulder round, you have to do more in the lead, and Medji will be thinking about that somewhere.
And also we're falling into talking about those rankings again. It's bumped him into 9th, but it's all about the points, of course. He's got 39.4. We see Mikhail Mauan with 79.7 in first position. Medji can't catch him up now points-wise. There's only 25 points left that he can gain. Also, if we look at Sasha Lehmann with 54.3, a lead specialist with 1 boulder to go, he has 54.3. He's having a great boulder round. So, yeah, understandable that Medji is frustrated. However, needs to keep his head up because there is a boulder left to go. And he had a great lead performance, so it's not over yet.
No, not by a long shot. The French crowd won't let him go that easily either. And we have got a couple more French, or one more French athlete to come in, Paul Gemft. Nikolai made good early work on this slab. Got through the middle sequence pretty quick, but now he needs to get these last couple of moves down. Green shoes to match the green holds. Bumping, bumping, hits it.
You spot the funniest thing.
I love a bit of colour coordination.
I like it. It's something I would never have noticed. It's great. I'm going to start looking out for it now.
See, your hips and shoulders, I'm all about the colours. Let
us know what you prefer to hear.
I think I know the answer on that one.
No, it's great. I love it. No more Angry Birds, unfortunately, though.
I've forgotten I said that, yeah. Where is my brain at today?
Yeah, if anyone wants to bring us some Red Bull, that'd be great.
I just feel like I occasionally lack a filter. I'll try to find one later on.
Oh, no, please don't. I love it.
Okay.
And so does everyone else.
Okay, fair enough.
They sure do.
All right, well, Nikolai needs to get this done now. 49 seconds. He's making that first move look really simple now, but it's about this sequence.
Opting to get onto that foot jib that's on the green. So there's a green hold on the green, bigger hold, which clearly worked a lot better, as we can see here.
And look at that lovely tension as he steps that right foot through.
Well, it's really smooth, that step through.
And now he needs to twist that body over towards the right. Boulder 2, we say goodbye to that. The bad boy of the round, no more. And Nikolai now looks at the clock. He's got 11 seconds. Don't rush, Nikolai, just stand up.
Don't rush, but go, go.
No, it's not going to be. Thumbs hanging in the air. He gestured up at it the time before when he got that close. I think he thought there was an edge on it.
Okay. Which makes sense if they're throwing up to it. But the time just now when he went up, he looked almost like he wanted to press underneath, just as you thought would work.
Yeah.
But I think Mikhail was really on the money. Of course, he topped it in order to just really keep his mind on his foot and his hips standing up and then reaching for the hold. Well, I mean, it's proved that that's the only way to do it so far. Maybe we'll see a different method, but it seems unfortunate we're seeing athletes get to that point when the clock is ticking down, and we can see how that clock beeping is flustering them. But it's unfortunate we've not seen more kind of successful attempts on that. But it's a really cool boulder to watch, I think.
No, I agree with you, it is. And now, look, if I was going to put money on anyone getting this, Yannick Floe on boulder 2, he'd be one of those I put money on, so we'll see. But Paul Jept is on his flash attempt now. Brings that left foot up, but this is where Paul's size might get in the way. It's a small box to fit in. And he just goes for the length and the reach.
Yeah, Paul is 198 centimeters
Outrageous.
tall, and Sam is 170. So very different size to be trying the same beater, and it is one of the things I love about climbing. Sam, talking about him, that was casual. He is looking so smooth, so composed. He means business here.
He does, and look at that scoreboard tick over as well. Well, Sam Havasu will lead the stage. And now Sasha, who, as you said, has had a stellar round. Can he put the icing on the cake here with a top on the slab? And look at Yannick as well, he's back underway. Sasha overbalances. All right, well, Paul rests. I think he thinks he knows the beater, so he doesn't need to keep throwing himself at that boulder.
It's been quite cool to see Paul, Sam and Medji walking around as a little unit. They almost look like a little boy band, and they have fans flocking over to them constantly. They were stood in a 3 for about an hour watching the women's the other day, with people just coming through, having photographs one after the other, and all their eyes would dart to the wall and then look back for the photos, dart to the wall, look back to the photos. They were very kind, very patient, but clearly wanted to be watching the competition. But they really are so sweet to all of their fans, which is great to see.
All I'm doing now is imagining the album cover shot for the boy band here. This needs to happen.
They do look like a little boy band. They travel in a little unit.
We need to shove Manu Corner in there just to complete the foursome, you know. Yeah, Manu is actually injured, talking about him. He's doing some of the MCs. He hurt his ankle a couple of weeks ago, so he's on the mic instead of on the mats. All right, Sasha gets stood up once more. 2 and a bit minutes to go, plenty of time. Right.
Yeah. You said earlier if you were going to put money on someone doing M2, Yannick would be one of those individuals. So it's interesting to see him struggling so much to get established. He has got the 5, so that's an important 5 to get for sure, of course. But he's someone we would really love to see getting that 10. And Yannick's a very strong climber, very powerful climber, tends not to like the slab. So this is kind of where we usually see him really flourish, but he just looks like he's really struggling with that right hand slipping. He's turned straight to ask for a brush. The brushes can run onto the mat and brush for them, or they can choose to brush themselves.
Yeah, I think I might have cursed him there with that one. Sorry, Yannick. But plenty of time. He's got a minute. He can figure it out. Come on, Sasha. Overbalanced last time he was here.
A little interesting fact on brushing. We are not allowed, or I'm no longer there, they are not allowed to use their own brushes.
Really?
You
I didn't know that.
only use the brushes that are provided. And sometimes at comps they're better than others. They look quite good here. But yeah, you're not allowed your own brush.
I did not know that rule. Thank you, Shauna. I guess it stops that sponsorship thing that sometimes we have to be careful of. I have no idea. Maybe it's like they're worried they'll put
No secret
a
pop.
secret, yes, exactly, a bit of glue on the brush. You never know. Right.
I can't actually remember what the reason is.
It'll be something like that for sure. Right, Paul, he got close the first time. He hasn't really got close since then. And again, Paul falling. Sasha needs to ignore the clock. 25 seconds. Steps over again. Yannick shakes his head. I think Yannick is done. And Paul not making progress, so we're just with Sasha now. 10 seconds. The beeps are going to go. Gets the toe on. No, it's not going to go for Sasha. Well, he's still had a good round. He's up in 5th.
Yeah, 63.8 for Sasha on the board currently. Of course, all the scores at the end of this round will be subject to appeal, so it's not necessarily definite, but it's very likely to stay the same. That is a really strong round for Sasha. Really, really strong round.
So Sasha leaves. Job done for this afternoon. Toby Roberts runs on, and another favourite for this competition. What a year he's had. Not quite found the magic in Bern. And I was talking to his dad, and he said, you know, mate, that might have been a good thing for him, just to not have it all his own way. But Toby,
wasting no time, straight on the wall.
Straight in, he's looking fit as well. Right, into the 10. Well, no problems for Toby.
Wow. He really didn't waste any time. He has 4 minutes 20 on the clock.
I don't really know what to say.
9 minutes 20 to rest now.
Yeah, cruising from Toby. Right, well, forget about Toby for the moment. Let's stick
just
with
uploaded
Alberto.
his stats. They've just on my screen now, and I don't even get to talk about them.
You could have at least waved to give us some time to talk about it, but no. All right, well, Medji, what can he do here? Down with 44.3, that's his score, so way below the leader, Miguel, who's on 79.7.
Medji's success on slabs is over 50%, so we know he's definitely capable of doing this. Over 57 again in the invert climbs, so we know he's definitely capable of doing this, but he just looks distracted,
yeah.
I would say, Medji. We know he's capable of doing really magical things on the wall. We've seen him this year in 4 out of 4 Boulder finals. You know, his finals attendance has been incredible. We've seen him on podiums. It's not an unfamiliar place to him, but this is not the Medji we're used to seeing. No,
there's something just not quite right, isn't there, at the moment? Well, we'll see. Can he put it back? He stood up this time. He tried to almost drop low before.
Yeah, Luca's struggling on the jump there on the main screen, and Medji again struggling to get across that slab, like mid-section. Interestingly, I think it's worth pointing out the fact that there are only 2 spots per gender per country for the games. So, you know, you've got a unit like Sam, Medji, and Sam. Only 2 of them can make it. That's if 2 of them qualify. But the maximum quota per gender per country is 2. Medji said his dream was to go to the games with Paul. He said he's like a brother to him. Oh. I hope Sam isn't offended by that. I did check that I was allowed to say that on the stream. But yeah, it's definitely worth remembering moments like this, because those spots, it kind of adds the pressure, and it really changes the game when you're from a country with such a strong field.
Yeah, no, you're very right. Even more for them to have to deal with. Well, Medji is up to the final move. Alberto falls on that hard M2. Medji looking around the corner, trying to see if there's anything to get his foot on.
It looks like he might want to go fast here, which is not the way, I think. But you see he stepped his left foot through, where other athletes have kept it on the left.
Yeah, he's
making it work, pulling very, very hard with that toe, but getting his hips over, going really slowly, really slowly. He needs to keep edging his weight upwards there, is what I was about to say. He has to be very careful not to use that 25. They can't use the plates that are on the wall.
So Medji, no go as he crept up. I thought he might have it for a sec. Alberto is also not making any progress and breathing hard.
Has bumped his points up a bit. Medji is now on 49.1. Alberto currently on 30, as he's only on the second boulder. Luca is struggling with this midsection on this move here. I think if he can get that, he'll really get stuck in. But again, he's more of a lead specialist, so he's definitely wanting to get as many points as possible. But we will be looking at him on the lead wall later on.
So 1 minute left. And I do wonder how much, because we haven't really seen much progress in the last set of athletes here, apart from Toby, who just absolutely cruised it. Oh, look at the shake from Medji. Right, this is where he lost it before. Can he make it this time? That should be enough.
You could see he was urging that weight up, getting higher and higher, waited until he was at the right height to lift his arms up. What a comeback from Medji. Fair play, mate.
Yeah, 64.4. He needed that. Right, Luca is also in.
I think Luca needed the crowd's energy to get him through that start section, but the clock is ticking down. He's going to get one attempt at this last move, one attempt only, because he doesn't have time to try again.
Right, what's he going to go for? Oh, misses the feet, really. So nothing, and Alberto leaves as well. That Medji, I'm going to go back to Medji here, because if he hadn't have got that top, he was in real trouble, but that's changed everything for him.
It's changed everything. He now has 64 points. He is in 4th position, but those 64 points are going to be vital going into the lead route later on. What a transformation for Medji. It was so great to see him find that composure, the composure he needed for that slam.
Well, we're both giggling because Adam Ondra got announced, so the crowd gave a French athlete-style reaction to him running out.
I think even bigger.
Remember him at the World Champs in Paris a couple of years ago. I think every Frenchman who's a climber remembers that, and I think that bleeds into this comp. Adam Ondra is out. He's made no mystery of the fact that he wants this Olympic place. He wants to compete again, and this is the time to do it for Adam. Awkward start for him. I'm thinking if height, because it's so scrunched up, maybe he struggles to stand into it.
I think that was just a little fluster. I think we'll see him get on with this pretty quickly. Yeah, there we go.
Into that right. Paul, though, is also struggling to get off the ground. Sam Avizu stood up on the slab. Adam in with the left hand. Adam brings his foot up to match his hand. We know the flexibility he possesses, and we saw it there. It's interesting when we look at our sort of top 11 athletes, everyone getting that first boulder apart from Medji. Sam now, slow and steady.
This could be huge for Sam if he's able to get this top. He's looking, like we've said, on every single boulder yet, he's looking composed and calm, which is going to be essential.
Oh, creeps over, face next to that black volume. Easy rotation, though, from him.
I think we just saw Yannick flying off that top move, but Sam here doing it for the crowd.
Beautiful last sequence, everything from the rotation, the toe underneath he brought into play. Excellent from Sam.
Full 25 points, nothing deducted for attempts because he did it on his first attempt, and the crowd are loving it.
All right, well, Sam leaves. Paul is left, still wrestling with the bottom moves.
And interestingly, Adam struggling here. He's looked quite calm, I would say, a little fluster on the first attempt. Then he dropped the top, and then he's just fallen a couple of times coming into the 5 again, but he's back up now, so hopefully we get to see him have a really good go at this last move.
Yeah, just catches that 10. Now watch him bring, the camera's zoomed in so we can see him bring his foot up, but he might have changed things. He has changed things. Way too low, though, that time.
I wonder if there's anything in the fact that Paul and Adam are taller climbers, if that body position is different for them. I mean, we've seen other athletes make it work, so without too much trouble. But yeah, I wonder if...
I think you're right. I mean, it certainly looks that way, doesn't it?
Also, these holds, they get dirtier, they get hotter. The conditions, they do change. I'm going to say it. It's definitely something to be aware of. Of course, it's competition. We try and make it as fair as possible, but you can't stop the build-up of chalk. You can't stop the fact that the holds are getting hotter. Sometimes that actually plays in favour. Sometimes holds feel grippier throughout a round. Sometimes they feel worse. So, yeah, it changes, but it is something that's important to be aware of when watching these rounds, because 20 climbers have been on that hold, or all of these holds before Adam. You know, he's the last athlete out.
Especially with a boulder like Boulder 2, where really only one's touched the first 4 holds. You know, that's going to get covered in chalk. Mm-hmm. So challenging conditions. But Adam walks back. Minute 15 on the clock.
Challenging conditions, but clearly not for Toby, I guess, who was out just before him.
That's true.
Maybe we don't know what we're talking about.
He's got that glue on the brush we talked about. I joke. Right, Adam stands up. He's looking maybe to get a foot up. He keeps looking down at his hand. Pressing, look at this tricep standing up. It's a long way to bring your foot up.
It is. He looks a very different shape to Sam, who made that work, that's for sure.
And Yannick gets the top. Brilliant from him, right? He's done.
Not done. Done Boulder 3.
True, just a slab
Sounded
to
like
go.
it was over.
Nah, not yet. Sorry, mate, you got to keep on going. Right, Paul and Adam are left on the mats with 30 seconds to go. And I don't know if Paul's really pulled off the ground properly yet. Hasn't got any zones. Let's see what Adam will do here. I think he might just go, no, he wants to launch, doesn't he? Come on.
Just doesn't look sticky as he hits that top hold. He really doesn't look like he has any traction. His body was really opening as opposed to staying parallel to the wall, meaning it was almost impossible for him to try and bring his other hand up. Not the start we would expect from Adam Ondra.
No, and he ran off the mats there at the end. So interesting. He'll go back and change some things up. Right, Toby is the last athlete. I'm watching a replay of Yannick Floe here. He got this top. I want to see how he did it because we only caught it on the small screen. So brings the left foot up onto the zone, starts this big swing, hits the right hand, left hand. That's one of the harder ways to do that.
It is. Yannick's finger strength is pretty insane. He hit that right hand. He did need to catch the undercut in order to stay on to stop that momentum pulling him off the wall, but he was able to do that.
So Toby is the only athlete who might show us the top now.
We've got Adam too.
Sorry. Of
Come on.
Yes, true.
I know he didn't do Boulder 1, but, you know, it's not over for him
I've
yet,
counted
Matt.
him
Come
out
on.
already. He's gone. Adam Ondra is out. No, but let's see if Toby can do it. Strong stuff as he stands up into the sloper. Hits the left. Wow. And Alberto flies for the top in the background.
Toby's looking for a right heel here, but the right heel is not on a lot. However, it's slightly around the erect. Can he get that 10? Can he make it work? How is he on the wall
I don't
right
know
now?
how he's on the wall. I'm just running out of words. This
So
is crazy.
he's moved his hips. He should be awarded the 10 from that. Strong climbing from him. He looks like he wants to reach back down and compress between them.
How has that heel stayed in
How
on
are
that
his
hold?
arms long enough? What is happening right now?
Wow, well, Toby, it looks like a different boulder suddenly. Oh, but he drops the top. And remember, Toby doesn't know how impressive that is, obviously.
I might know
Maybe
from
by the
this
crowd reaction, sure.
Maybe.
But like, I am just, my mouth is open here in the commentary box. Crazy from Toby. Alberto, he came close to a top on his first go. Let's see what he can do this time.
I'm quite glad people back home can't see us because we bounce around while we are watching this. We can't stop moving. Our hands are in the air. We run straight into the screen almost as exciting things happen.
I know. It is ridiculous. We burn calories here in the box, I tell you.
I tell you, it is harder to watch climbing than it is to compete.
Right, well, Boulder 1, of course, is gone. Boulder 2 in action. So we got, and we're watching Luca Pottinger on our main screen here, try to twist in, make a match. Not a lot to hold on to.
He looks a bit beat up, Luca does right there. He looks like he quite appreciate the rest he's got between this round and the lead round coming later on, but there isn't that long between.
Nice.
Wow, fast hands from Alberto just now.
Yeah, smooth through. Yeah, 7 p.m. the lead round start this evening. Women's boulder was earlier on today, if you missed that. All right, here we go, Alberto with new tattoos, and I can say that because I spoke to him about it. He's got some pretty cool dragon stuff going on there. But hasn't quite figured this out yet. I think he's going to go like Yannick did, try to hit the 25. Oh, no, he's just spinning in the air. So Toby has had a long, long rest, and now he's about to pull back on. But Toby did it very powerfully before. Can he find that same sticky heel? Left foot slides off the hold, now brings it in. I don't know how he cuts loose on that. Goes for a higher heel, doesn't work.
Yeah, he's changing that up now. He's trying to create some compression between these holds, changing his beta slightly, and he's just looking for anything to give him a bit of extra grip because there is so little on the hands.
Oh, well, he makes it work with another outrageous heel. Hits the 10, but I think that first go took a lot out of him.
Yeah, it really seemed to, and he almost threw to the top hold thinking it was going to be good, and it's really not. It's a bad hold. And we saw him hit it, but not quite stick it. So he did get very close to getting those 25 points, and he's got a minute left on the clock. Obviously, he doesn't know how impressive that was. He doesn't know how hard this boulder is. If you could tell him, you'd probably say, mate, leave it, like, save your beans for the next ones. But he doesn't know that. He's going to give it another go by the looks of it. He's having a rest now. Luca.
Luca just looks like he needs some oxygen out there. We should bring him something. He's breathing hard. Alberto easy through that part of the route of the boulder.
Really satisfying to watch the way he does that movement, but then he's really losing it on the top, really focusing on going to the top hold, not catching the undercut. Hopefully he can change that now. Wow.
Yeah, the time before this, he just went straight for that 25 with one hand. It wasn't going to work, but this time it does.
And you don't get much from Alberto often, so to see him react like that, you can really see what it meant. 25 points in the back.
Well, Toby didn't save his beans. He went for another attempt, but that 10 points, he doesn't know it yet, but it might be vital. So he leaves, has a last look back at what's to come. And now, I was premature on saying this, but Adam Ondra is the last climber who could maybe show us the top on M2.
I know, I thought you counted him out. I thought you'd written Ondra off.
I changed my mind. I'll give him another chance. He's got some history. All right, Adam, come on.
We talk about Adam, assuming that everyone knows he is one of the most known climbers in the world, previous world champion in both boulder and lead. He is an Olympian. He is incredibly well-established rock climber also, and a dad too. So yeah, he's definitely got a lot of accolades to his name and an incredible amount of experience coming into this competition at 30 years old, being a world champion at 16. So yeah, he's been doing this for a while.
He has, hasn't he? Bit of experience to call on.
Almost as long as Toby's been alive.
How depressing. But you are right.
It's so depressing. He's the same age as me. What are you trying to say?
Well, I'm older than you. That's why it's depressing, you know. All right. We're having an ego crisis, or I am, in the commentary box here. All right, Paul, great work from him into the undercling. This is going to help his score. Makes the match. Awesome from Paul Gempt.
A little fist bump match there.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of sass from Paul.
All right, Yannick is on the slab. Now, I feel a bit bad here because we've been doing Yannick down on slabs, but I know how hard he's been working at slabs, and it means everything to him. When he does a slab, it just feels like all of that hard work has paid off for Yannick. So I'm fingers crossed for him on this one.
Yeah, and in Bern, I chatted to him a bit. Terex had an athlete lounge out, which was really cool to get to hang out with the athletes and really chat to them. And Yannick came in beaming after one of the rounds and was like, I did the slabs. So he knows he's capable of them. So yeah, definitely not giving him a bad rep. I think he's very much capable of doing this slab. When you get Yannick on a good day, it is magic, but he does let frustration get the better of him sometimes. I'm happy to say that. I would say that to him too, don't worry. I'm not being mean, but when Yannick is in the moment, it's really insanely impressive to watch, both in competition and on rock. He's only 24 years old as well, so there's a lot more to come from him, but he wants an Olympic ticket. He didn't compete at the previous Olympics, he didn't make it. So yeah, he'll be looking for that this time, and there's a strong German team as well, so definitely some competition from his fellow teammates too.
Absolutely. Well, we know how much it means to him, and part of the joy about him trying to get better at slabs, we know if he gets it, that he'll be over the moon when he comes back into ISO. So come on, Yannick. 2:20. Adam Ondra not getting very far so far. He made the match like Toby did, but couldn't stick it on the boulder 2, so not into the zone yet. And Adam chalks up. Has a rethink as we come up to the 2-minute mark.
I feel like we really didn't talk much about Paul and his quick ascent of boulder 3, because for him to not have the round that he's wanted on the first 2 boulders, to come out and then do that boulder so quickly, so smoothly, that is a really impressive climbing from Paul.
Yeah, I agree with you. But this is where Adam fell before. This match, better from Adam this time. Up to the 10, but that right hand goes. Adam is one of those athletes who does struggle a little bit with skin sometimes. You know, he's got, and it's fairly documented, that one. And just sliding off, but powerful stuff just to get to that position.
Adam, interestingly, often suffering with dry skin, not sweaty skin. Skin, we talk about, when we're talking about skin here, we are not talking about complexion, we are talking about skin on your fingertips, for those who don't know. So when you're in contact with the wall, you'll see climbers chalking up to kind of take that sweat away, and your skin starts to wear down on your fingertips, which creates less friction between your fingertips and the holds. So climbers talk a lot about skin, and Adam is definitely someone who's spoken a lot about it previously. Sometimes you see him with a little wet cloth out on the mat to dampen his fingertips, which other athletes use that approach too, but the majority of climbers tend to struggle with sweaty skin. So it's really interesting that Adam tends to struggle with the reverse.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember there's a video of him cutting his skin off his fingers before an outdoor climb. Yeah, shaving it, yeah.
With a razor blade.
Crazy stuff these climbers go through. Right, well, he's up to the slope, but falls with the feet.
Everyone needs a good skincare kit.
Yeah, razor blades and all the rest. Right, Adam leaves. We're not going to see a top of Boulder 2, and Yannick also can't quite get the slab. And I think he's gesturing to his coach there. Some choice words going down. All right, well, Yannick leaves us.
Yannick's walking away with a score of 59.6. Not a terrible score. It's better than his qualification boulder score, and he did a really good effort on the lead route, so he's still going to be looking for a final spot, despite the fact he was looking very disappointed walking away then.
Yeah, still in the game, isn't he? Right, Toby comes out. He got close to Boulder 2. He's looking strong, so let's see on Boulder 3, and Alberto on the slab for his final climb of the afternoon.
Always gets to this point, and I can't believe it's nearly over the round.
Yes, I know what you mean.
When
it
we lose
quick.
2 boulders, I'm like, okay,
yeah.
It's almost done.
It's sad in a way, isn't it?
It is.
All right, Toby, what can you do? Easy. Flashes to the 10.
Really smooth. Great hips from him there, like allowing that swing to happen as he came through and just hitting that 10 very casually.
He's up and under, not quite, but close. Toby has a flow at the moment. It's kind of a bit new for me to see him. Sometimes he gets a bit sort of flustered and physical with it, but he just looks...
Yeah, he can often, when the pressure's on, and I think in Bern especially, we saw Toby look distracted. And it seemed like the pressure was maybe ramped up for him after such an incredibly strong season coming into Bern with Olympic spots on the line. He's gone away and clearly worked on some weaknesses. Seeing him flow through that start there is really cool to see. That's something I think we would have seen him struggle with in Bern, you know. So to see him now looking comfortable and relaxed is really great, and I think that's when we'll see the best Toby.
I agree. It's like a weight sort of somehow lifted off his shoulders in a moment, so hopefully that progresses for him. Alberto doing good work as he gets the right foot over. Here's Toby once more. Fires off with that right hand. I love the movements in this slab where they slowly bring that right foot down.
Yeah, and that bump of the left foot in just to help the hips get higher. Foot pop on the left there for him right then, but not something that he should struggle with on the next attempt. I think he'll make a bit of an adjustment to stay more mindful of his foot position.
Yeah, and with just a minute gone, he's got the time to make that adjustment.
Oh, it's getting tense in here now.
I know it is, isn't it? That's sort of like... All right. Toby hits the zone again. He looks so good through this section. He's tried 2 different methods on the top. Let's see if he can nail one down this time.
Yeah, we want to see Toby really hit and land on the right foot, if he can, in a really good position. Regardless of what hand sequence he does, he just wants to land well.
Oh, he's in this time, and from here it should just be a simple match for Toby. Look at that smile. Yeah, so that's 2 out of 2 and a high zone. Toby Roberts is making a big play here.
He sure is, but you know, Sam's sat up there with 80 points currently, so there's definitely some athletes really fighting out there, and I think it's been a great round to watch. There's been some surprises already. Of course, it's not over yet. We can still get to see Alberto on this slab, and Adam's still got 2 boulders to go. So yeah, still some more climbing to watch, but some surprises, both good and bad.
Absolutely. I love this Boulder and Lead format. Yeah, well, the sport is all right, you know, but this format is brilliant because I'm so excited for the lead. Like, I want to see what happens. And because it's not over yet, it's wide open. And for me, that's just, as a viewer and apparently a commentator, that is just a brilliant thing to have to look forward to.
It really is, and I'm excited. We've got some stats coming in. Thank you very much to Elle Duffield, who's set a little site up for us, so hopefully we'll know who is in finals as the round goes on. I cannot wait to have the maths, because for the first time we won't be sat here with our calculators out. But yeah, it's going to be such a show. The lead wall is just to our right, and it's seeming ever present.
Yeah, exactly. It's coming closer. Well, a couple more boulders to go first. Alberto with a big stretch over to the right. Presses down with the palm and gets stood up now. This is this foot slide I love. There we go, down onto, well, it's not, yeah. And as he demonstrated, there's not much to stand on. Being that spread out, he's having to put quite a lot of weight through that right foot, and it just didn't seem to stick.
Yeah, it seems to be working for him. Alberto's someone who climbs really within his limits, so he uses the flexibility that he has. He seems to know his body really well. I mean, he's an Olympic gold medalist. Of course, he knows his body well, but he made this work previously, so I think that's why he's sticking with this method. I do think it'll work. He just needs to be much more accurate with his foot placement, which he's done now. As in, bump that foot in, being really deliberate this time.
Got 5 seconds, though. I hadn't noticed that. 3, 2, 1, and he's going to get timed out. That went fast for Alberto at the end. No send, but a good performance. The Olympic champion will leave with lead to come tonight. Adam Ondra waits. And here he comes, and then Paul on the slab at the end.
And Ondra, he does have 2 boulders to go, but he's currently down in 20th position with 14.9 points. So he's got a lot of work to do on these 2 boulders if he wants to stay in contention for getting a finals spot.
Yeah, and we've seen Adam make mistakes before, so it's not a given, is it? All right, Paul tries to get the foot on, can't find it this time. Yeah, and I think we can class Adam, and I think he'd admit this, in sort of like the old school category of climbing, you know, the jumps, the coordination moves, although he's got very good at it, it's not maybe naturally where he'd like to end up.
Yeah, I guess, you know, he's quite a lot older than some of the younger athletes who've literally grown up doing that style of climbing, whereas Adam and I were born in the same year, so started competing in the juniors at the same time. It's not something we've grown up doing, it's something we had to learn to do, that's for sure. So there is a difference, but he's very capable of doing these, and he looks like he wants to stop here, so he's almost not allowing that swing and that flow to happen. Adam's a very expressive climber, both on the wall and on the mats. You can see that frown in his face here. He's frustrated, but he's also really good at letting it out on the wall and using it in order to really progress and to be efficient. So you can't ever count Adam out.
No, I agree. I think the difference I'm noticing between Adam and Toby is Toby just got a bit more flow through that section. Adam's looking a little bit tense at the moment and just maybe just needs to unleash it. Just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's also 12 years. But no, that doesn't mean anything when it's Adam Ondra on the wall, because he's very capable. And you know, Mikhail Mawam is 33 years old. He's the eldest athlete in this competition, and he's the current world boulder champion. So age is just a number, as Adam's just shown here. But I think Toby's really climbing with a confidence and a kind of energy that's different. I think Adam's carrying a bit of nerves, and you can see that, but he's, like I said, so experienced and able to use all of that on the wall just there. But I do think it is interesting that, you know, climbers of Adam's generation, they had to learn these movements like we've just seen here, whereas Toby's generation, they've done it from day one because that's been the style. Yeah,
exactly. It does change things. Well, let's see what Paul can do. He's alone at the moment in front of this French crowd, which will enjoy every second of this last 2 minutes 15. Creeps down, lovely shot to show off that toe. There it is. Much rubber as possible onto the hold. And not this time for Paul. Yeah, it's absolutely packed in here. It's sold out, I've been told, throughout the weekend for tickets. So don't come to Laval. We told you it's hard to get here. Just listen to myself and Shauna on the broadcast. Minute 41 on the clock. Paul drops out a shot as he approaches the wall, pulls back up to the slab. He makes the beginning of this look simple.
He does, and I almost forgot how hard the beginning of this climb is. We've seen many climbers not even get the 5, so an important set of points for him to get for sure. But again, he's not had the boulder round that he would have wanted so far, so he does really need this if he wants to get those points up, of course. There's a big difference in his boulder score right now from what it was previously. He's on 40 currently. In the qualification round, he got 79.4. I was going to say Paul's more of a lead specialist, but maybe he's not anymore, because if we look at the qualification round, 79.4 versus 68.1 on lead. So, yeah, who knows? But I think he can really pull it out on the lead if he needs to, and it's seeming like he's going to need to.
Yeah, he's going to have to, isn't he? All right, Paul, well, we saw it with Medji, though, that he pulled something out of the bag on this final slab, so maybe Paul can find something. But for me, he's looking quite far away at the moment. Falls
and a little bit tired, potentially, as well. You saw his hand fire off there, kind of a mistake that we're not used to seeing Paul make.
Right, all to play for as we come up to 30 seconds left of Paul's competition.
He's also got his foot, he's not got his foot on the jib, he's got his foot very far back on that hole, very close to the wall, making that move much harder.
So some mistakes in the last part of Paul's competition here. Last chance to get this, 12 seconds to go. There's the 10. Gets it this time, but it's not going to work. And Paul with his head in his hands, yeah, he's got some work to do later on. Well, Paul will leave us.
Just shows how Medji, having a relatively similar round to Paul, how important it was for him to keep that composure on that last climb and walk away with a 64 points, where Paul's walking away with just 40.
Yeah, massive difference, isn't it? Oh, Toby's out. Let's see how slabby he's feeling. Last 2 athletes to go, Toby and Adam. And look how black that green foothold is now. Totally different colour at the beginning of the round. Lots of rubber been sliding down that. So, Toby underway, feet off the deck. Right hand up. Crowd so quiet. I've dropped my own voice here. I think I'm responding to them.
We've got to pace ourselves. It's a long way for us to go too. We've got the lead coming up later on, and then Boulder all again tomorrow, and then lead again tomorrow. So yeah, we'll let Toby have his moment.
Exactly. Oh, he's having his moment right now. Good work from Toby as he finds the right jib, brings the left foot up. Needs to find this 10. Nice. All the weight on that right leg now as he brings the left through and matches that sausage-like hold. That's the jib they've been standing on. That screw's almost bigger than the jib.
This is such great climbing from Toby. He's gone away, he's worked on his weaknesses. We've seen him kind of lose competitions on slabs at times, but not right now. He looks composed. He does look like he's going to go quite quickly here. If he can get the right balance point, it could work for him.
Oh, nearly. I mean, come on. He nearly fell off 3 times there. He almost had it, saved it, almost with a palm, but couldn't quite find it.
Yeah, it just shows how bad that hold is, right? And it really shows that if you want to stick that last hold, you need to have all the weight. You can't be moving when you hit it. The hold is just there to kind of get the match, but it's all about finding that body position. Yeah, it's cool to see Toby looking solid through the slab there.
Kudos to the route setters on this, because it's a move that usually you do go quick on, and it usually works. You know, you press up to a small edge above your head. We've seen it a ton of times, but this is very different, and it's just tricking them, I think, slightly when they get there.
Yeah, it's forcing them to be incredibly decisive in their movement and not allowing them to falter in any way. So they have to be really solid through their foot placement, through their legs, through their hips, really strong. They can't lean back with their shoulders in the slightest, otherwise they're off the wall. Yeah, it's a really well set move and a fun boulder to watch.
It is indeed. 2 minutes 20 for Toby.
Also, speaking of the route setting, the scores are really well split. Very few ties in there right now, and a real mix of points. We've got 80 points with Sam Avizu in first position currently. And then Martin in 20th currently with 19.4. So, yeah, a real mix of scores in this round.
Oh, Toby rotates through. All right, here we go. Will he have learned something? I think he's setting up for a similar kind of move, but he just makes it work. Oh.
He stayed so close in. Yes, his hands were wobbling around, but he didn't let his shoulders pull back at all. That was a really strong finish from Toby, popping him up into first position with 84.7 points. And we know Toby can do magical things on a lead rope as well. Whew.
Yeah,
it's hard to imagine we won't be seeing him in finals.
Yes, I think that's a fair prediction to make sure that. We'll have to wait and see, though, but that is a great score from Toby. So we just wait for Adam Ondra, and while we do have this slight pause, we'll have a check of the results. Toby Roberts, as you said, 84.7. Sam Avizu, Mikkel Mauer, Nikolai Uznik, who sort of undercover had a great round up with 64.8. Anje Pahak, Medji Schalck with a comeback at the end. Hannes van Dyssen and Sasha Lehmann. They are our current finalists in terms of positions, but I keep saying it, but 100 points are added to this. Yannick Floey is still in touch. And down the bottom, Adam will be out in a minute, but needs to do something with his final slab. Paul Gemp didn't have the greatest around, sitting on 40, work to do for him. And Darius Rapper from Romania, coming in 18th. Good performance from him with a 24.2. Unlikely to see him in a finals, but great to have some fresh blood into this semi-final.
Yeah, like I said earlier, there are some surprises in this round. Of course, Adam still yet to do his, or yet to attempt his final boulder, so it's not over yet. But wow, it's been a show, that is for sure.
As indeed. Well, the chalk you saw there, caught in the light, blowing through this arena in Laval.
The cameramen love it, don't they?
They love a bit of chalk, yeah. Someone told me that in Bern it reminded them of either the Milky Way or those little things that you find at the bottom of the ocean that float around and glow. That's what I was told. Right, Adam is waiting, head down in the shadows, and a very focused face on. Gets the thumbs up. Big moment for Adam Ondra here.
So you see athletes running onto the mats holding towels often, and that is because there is no carpet on the mat, so it's plastic coated covering. So a lot of chalk builds up on there. They are cleaned between the rounds. I've seen the
Hoovers.
Volunteers?
Oh, volunteers.
I couldn't remember that word. I've seen the Hoovers come on and do it. Yeah. No, I've seen the volunteers rushing on afterwards to make sure they're clean. But yeah, you see them bring a towel on that so they can clean their shoes. People often ask what do they bring onto the mats with them, and yeah, nearly always a towel.
A towel, but as we discovered, no brushes allowed. All right, Adam hits the zone and comes down. So last couple of minutes of this broadcast. We'll check the results. Myself and Shauna will go away, and you need to come back 7 p.m. tonight after Adam finishes, Central European time, for the lead rounds. Adam again, just demonstrating once more something we mentioned, which is the first moves aren't as easy as some of the athletes have made it look. But Adam, this time, much better from him. Moves the right foot onto the jib. Looks solid. Adam just knows these kind of moves, doesn't he? You can see it in his body. His body almost wants to do it before his brain tells him to sometimes.
Yeah, and we spoke about the fact that Adam can really perform under pressure. He almost seems to thrive on it at times, and we're seeing that right now. A great display of his ability to do these slab boulders. Turning in here and looking like he's going to go fast, but catches a toe hook. Right hip turned in. That was smooth.
Adam needed it, and he got it done when it counted the most. Just less than a minute gone. Adam sees that boulder, sends it. 25 for him. Good work from Adam. And with that, we will get a final confirmation of the scores. And do remember that these are provisional. They might change, but this is what we know so far. Adam leaves us, and the audience will be asked to leave soon so they can strip that wall. just wait for the confirmation of the scores as they stand. Remember, Boulder is added to lead, 200 points available in total. So the scores you're about to see will be from the Boulder round. Those blue lights lighting up the lead wall, you could just see it on the right-hand side.
Yeah, you get a little glimpse.
There it is, it's waiting for us as the crowds start to filter out of the stadium. They'll go and have a break, and hopefully you will if you're at home as well. Of course, you've been joining us all day. Let's see those results. So, Toby Roberts leading the way, 84.7 for him. Then Sam Avazu, Mikael Mauern, the world champ, is in third. Nikolai Uznik, 64.8. Anje Bahak, Medji Schalck, Hannes van Dyson, Sasha Lehmann. And outside of the top 8, but still very much in contention, is Yannick Floey and Alberto Hines Lopez in the 59s. And as we turn our attention to the second half, Philipp Schenk, 58.6. Dropping out of the 50s is Nicolas Collin in the 40s. And as we head down, more disappointment, or some disappointment for those athletes. Jack McDougall, 34. Luca Potajar, but everyone really still within distance. So, thank you for joining myself and Shauna Coxey here. We will return at 7 p.m. Central European time for the lead rounds of this semi-final. Tomorrow morning, we have the Boulder and Lead finals. So, Shauna, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. That was a great show. It really starts to set the scene for later on. The athletes will get one attempt at the lead route, and like you said, there are 100 points up for grabs. So it could all change. It will change. It's going to be very exciting. And yeah, just 8 athletes going through to the next round. So I can't wait.
All right, well, we'll see you soon, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon, and goodbye for now.